someday. I met a strange lady, she made me nervous. She took me in and gave me breakfast. And she said, do you come from a land down under? Women go and men wonder. Can't you hear the thunder? You better run, you better take cover.
Oh, wouldn't you just like to be there right now? Heck, it's summer there right now, but even winter there is nothing like winter here, of course. That is Men at Work. On this day in 1983, they started a 4-week run at number one with the song Down Under. It went on to sell over 2 million copies in the U.S. alone. Also became a number one in the UK, Denmark, Ireland, Italy, and Switzerland. Not bad for a bunch of lads from Australia. Throw another shrimp on the bobby, eh? This day in 1983, Down Under from Men at Work goes number one. Hey, good morning. Is it, how should I put this delicately? Is it snowy enough for you? You know, like we like to say in the summertime, is it hot enough for you? Or is it cold enough for you? Is it snowy enough for you? I have many thoughts, all of which are weather related, but I get this sense on days like today that they're the perfect day to just gather around our radios, have a conversation. I get the sense that maybe you're less distracted today because you have less to do because you didn't go out of the house. I don't know. But if you're out there trying to make your way through this winter wallop carefully and in hands-free fashion, would love to hear from you where you're at, what it's like. I wussed out on my drive to work today. I'll explain that in a second, but do take care. And if you are able, in a hands-free and safe way, by all means, when the show begins every day, phone lines are open at 519-570-2545, star 570 by cell, hands-free, 1-800-570-5715. And, of course, the inbox is available all day long as well, Mike at 570news.com. You kind of missed this one, didn't you, Environment Canada? We went from 5 to 10 centimeters to 10 to 20 centimeters to 20 to 30 centimeters in a pretty darn big hurry, didn't we? My beloved and I, just before bed last night, were kind of comparing notes. So I had in my head, from following the forecasting through the day yesterday, that we were getting 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. And then my beloved said 10 to 20. I'm like, what do you mean 10 to 20? Environment Canada, yellow snow weather alert, whatever. I'm going to get to that in a second. But anyway, 10 to 20. So I have on my phone the app, the native app that comes with the iPhone that I have. And I have also downloaded the Environment Canada app to add to it. And sometimes I like to just go to the Weather Network and see what it's saying. So when my beloved says 10 to 20, I'm like, what do you mean 10 to 20? Where's this 10 to 20 centimeters coming from? And sure enough, that's what, as of bedtime in the Farwell household last night, a little after 10 o'clock, that's what Environment Canada was talking about. But, and this is where it gets interesting, the app that comes with the phone, I geek out over this stuff, usually when I'm on a motorcycle trip looking for rain, and in the wintertime, because I'm obsessed with the snow and how much of it. And the app on the phone said last night 33 to 40 centimeters of snow. And my beloved refused to believe that. I'm like, I'm telling you, it's right here. And she didn't know where to find that little part of the app that tells you how much snow is going to fall. So I showed her how to find it, and hers was saying the same thing, which naturally it would, because she's got an iPhone as well. And there you go. The app, whatever weather system, weather prognosticating systems are behind the app on the phone, I think had it pretty much closest to right? Because we're talking 30 centimeters easy, I think, by the time all is said and done. We might even surpass that. I haven't seen any official snowfall amounts as of yet, but here we are. When I got up this morning, before I had even really a chance to look out any window to see what it was we were coming into today, I thought to myself, we've gone through this much winter and we've had some weather without a single school closure. And I thought that's pretty good, because I recall a time not too long ago where it seemed like we were declaring snow days at the drop of a ding-dang hat. Like it was, I found it kind of embarrassing, and I would complain about it quite a bit. Absolutely, today is a snow day. But up until now, we've canceled buses when conditions weren't ideal, but we have not closed schools fully. We have not had a full-fledged snow day until today. And here we are. And as I said, absolutely the right call. I often say when folks ask, what time do you start every day? What time do you get to work? I said, I get to work around 6, which is, it's a little bit on the vague side, but that's the truth. And full disclosure here, I count the start of my workday as being the 6 a.m. news with Christine Clark and Mark Douglas, because by that time I'm in my car, I'm on my way to work, and I'm starting my day by listening to the 6 o'clock news. I know they're on at 5, but I'm not in my car at 5. I'm in my car at 6 and on my way to work. Today, I was still in the driveway cleaning cars off by the time the news was done at 6 o'clock. So I rolled in today about 6:35, 6:40, give or take. I'm usually here between 6:10 and 6:15 because, again, in the vehicle before the 6 a.m. news starts. By the time I get to work, 6 a.m. news is done. I park, I'm here, I'm at work. But today was a little bit different. So I like to turn up the radio really loud. I assume it doesn't bother the neighbors at 6 a.m. And while I'm cleaning off the vehicles, I wasted my time cleaning my beloved's vehicle today. For one, by the time she was going to use it, it would have been snow covered again. For two, of course, it's a work from home day, as it should be. These are the kinds of days where the flexibility built into one's schedule is absolutely warranted. Nonetheless, that's how long it took just to clean the vehicles off this morning. Get out there on the road. And then I was asking myself, what do I do today? Do I stick with the intercity? Do I stick to the roads in the city where traffic is going to be moving a little bit more slowly? But yeah, I just wasn't sure what I was going to get on the expressway, right? But I thought, well, you see, the thing about the expressway is there are no stoplights. And even if you're just doing 50, you can just do 50, right? So onto the expressway I went. And it wasn't too bad until I got past Cortland. And then between Cortland and Homer Watson, whatever lane or lanes had been there prior were gone. And then after Homer Watson, it was even worse. And some Yahoo in a Jeep. I'm like, good for you, Mr. 4x4, just came. But I saw him coming. I'm like, I know what you're doing, Mr. Jeep. That's fine. It was fine. He wants to drive like that quickly. You go right ahead because you're in the Jeep, right? But I'm thinking to myself, okay, once I get past Fisher Hallman, you see, it's going to be unlit, can't see the lanes. Am I going to end up just driving into a ditch because I can't see everything with all this snow? So I took the coward's way out today, and I got off at Fisher Hallman instead of driving to Tressler. Because then I also thought, even if I make it, and guess where that off-ramp is at Tressler, what's Tressler Road going to be like as I come from Tressler to Ira Needle? So I thought, you know what, Fisher Hallman it is. And I got off at Fisher Hallman and drove the rest of the way on the city streets down to Victoria, and then Victoria up here to the boardwalk. Worked out pretty well. I will not tell a lie, though. Get off the expressway at Fisher Hallman, and you make your left-hand turn. And, of course, the first traffic light is McGarry, which is just the top of a steep enough hill. And, again, full disclosure, I will not tell a lie. I took a little bit of a run at that hill because I was thinking, if I don't, will I make it? I've got snows on the car. I've got my winter tires on, but I just wanted to be sure. So I made sure I was still chugging along at about 45 as I crested that hill on Fisher Hallman to McGarry. Made it no problem. Made it here slower than usual, but safe. It is some kind of storm, though, which brings me back to Environment Canada. If you can, if you can help me out on this, what in HE double hockey sticks does orange mean? Like, I don't care. And then I've heard so much about the yellow. Oh, and when I hear the yellow, if we're not careful, we have to be careful with our language here at the radio station, because a lot of times it could be like a yellow snow alert. Well, what I know about yellow snow is that it was the stuff I was told not to eat when I was a kid. And it's the stuff that little Rosie always stops and sniffs when we're out for our walks. You know what I'm saying? But what's with this color nonsense? Who the heck cares? Like, how much snow is coming? Oh, 5 to 10 centimeters? Okay, I get that. Oh, 20 to 30 centimeters? Fine. The color is utterly meaningless to me. Utterly meaningless. And I don't understand. Like, I'll tell you what I think. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand why we made the change. But what I think now is, like, I can just picture, this is a federal government agency, right? Just imagine the number of people around the boardroom table, the number of hours invested. Like, here's the idea. Here's what we need to do. How much do you think was invested financially through salaries and whatnot to create the color-coded weather alert system? Who the hell cares? Yellow, orange, red? I don't care. Tell me how much snow is coming. Is it going to snow a lot? Is it going to be windy? Is it going to rain? Is it going to be really hot? The color, I don't get it. I'm sorry. If you know better than I do, you can help me out. But I think it's it was a make-work project. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a color-coded system. It's only going to cost us about $150,000, whatever we did. It's nonsense. Who cares about the color? Says the guy that doesn't care about the color. And the final question I have today, as I sit here and still feel the chill down around my ankles, how long will it take? In fact, by the end of this show, the cuffs of my pants have dried out? You see, I left the house this morning prepared. I did, but not quite prepared for this. And I even put on my big boots, my big Sorels, because I'm a good Waterloo County boy. I remember that plant out Wellington way where you used to be able to buy them right there in the shop. Anyway, I got my Sorels on. That's a tall boot. But even as I went down the stairs, I think they were there. I didn't trip because there had been some drifting up to the front door of the Farwell abode. But as soon as I stepped down the stairs, like, the snow was up and over the top of the boot. And I will confess again, full disclosure, I didn't tie the boots. I just slipped them on, figuring I could trudge through. I'm just going to the car. So much snow. So I'm cleaning off the car. I'm trudging through snow that had drifted into the driveways. The snow is constantly getting down into the boot. And so the bottom of my pants and my socks to some degree, still damp. Socks are doing better. I didn't put shoes on when I got to work today. One of my coworkers said, "Where are your shoes?" I said, "Well, let me tell you what happened this morning when I was trying to clean off my car." But it's still cold down there, the bottom of the pant. Will it dry before 1 o'clock this afternoon when we call it a day here together? I have no idea, but it's going to be a little test. How wet did Farwell's pants get just cleaning off the car this morning? And will it be dry by 1 o'clock? I know these are the things that you are dying to know before the end of the day.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
All right, let's get to that Farwell Show 5, shall we, for this Thursday morning, the 15th of January. Number one, it's snowing. It's going to continue snowing. The roads are a mess. Winter sucks. Number two, Conestoga College President John Tibbetts has retired. The announcement came late yesterday afternoon, and the retirement is effective immediately. In a post from the college, Tibbetts says, "Serving Conestoga has been the privilege of his professional life. Norma McDonald Ewing will serve as interim president." Number three, a search is underway for a missing teen from Woolwich Township. Regional police say Jade, a 15-year-old girl, was last seen near a deli on King Street North in Kitchener on Tuesday. She was last wearing a black puffer jacket and black shoes. Jade recently stayed at an Airbnb in the area and may be with another 15-year-old boy, also dressed in black. Police say there is concern for Jade's safety. You can find a photo and full description on our website, kitchener.citynews.ca. Can I just ask a quick question about that too? Jade may have been staying recently at an Airbnb in the area. I haven't rented a car in a long time, but don't I have to be 25 to rent a car? How the hell do you rent an Airbnb at 15 years old? Out of curiosity. How is that a thing? I guess you just need your credit card. Is that how it works? I don't know. I've never Airbnb'd. How do you do that at 15 years old? Number 4 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, Prime Minister Mark Carney says Canada is entering a new era of relations with China. Carney says his brief visit to Beijing sets the stage for talks on areas where the two can be strategic partners. And number 5 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, Alexander Bilecki, UC Ahokas, and the rest of the Kitchener Rangers coaching and training staff picked up a win for Team West at last night's OHL Top Prospects game in Peterborough. West beat East 4-3. Nikita Klepov led the way with a goal and 2 assists. Oh, who does Nikita Klepov play for? The Saginaw Spirit. And that's who the Kitchener Rangers will face tomorrow when they are back home to take on the Saginaw Spirit. And that is your Farwell Show 5 for this Thursday morning. We're going to take a quick break, get you some updates on the road, and then your morning wake-up call. You can make it or I will on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. One of these days, I'm going to turn the tables on you. Because you know how when you listen to the radio in particular, you get this idea of what the radio announcer looks like in the studio that he's working in and stuff like that. It's kind of a little bit of theater of mind, right? But you create this in your mind. Well, I'm the same way, just so you know, sitting here talking to you every day. And I'm really curious, and I really do think that sometime in the not too distant future, I'll flip this around because I want to know. I want to know where you are and what you're doing while you're listening to the show. Today, for example, I picture you just taking a snow day, getting your work done, maybe in between bouts of shoveling all of this stuff. Oh, by the way, good morning especially to my neighbors with snowblowers. Do my neighbors listen to the show by chance? Can you please bring your snowblower past the Farwell house? I'll be eternally grateful. Anyway, I picture you just all hovering and hunkered down away from the weather as best you can. But maybe you're out there. I know some of you don't have a choice. You're out there. Maybe Ron is one of those people because he's on the phone with us this morning. Hey, Ron.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, it sounds like you're out there somewhere.
Oh, yeah, we're out there. I got to ask you, where in HE double hockey sticks are the snowplows today?
Oh, Ron, you got to cut the plows some slack. Are you kidding me? I guarantee they've been out. They've probably been out all night. This stuff has come fast. And yes, they have. Yes, they have.
I can tell from the roads that I'm on, there's a stretch of Hespeler Road north of Cambridge. There's got to be 5 inches of slop on the road. And when vehicles get stopped, they cannot get moving again because of the ice conditions underneath the snow. So that tells me that last night when it was turning from rain to snow...
It did not turn from rain, Ron. It did not turn from rain to snow last night. There was no rain yesterday.
Well, last night at some point, the roads turned to ice.
Yes.
And the plows did nothing.
Okay, listen, everybody is entitled to their opinion. I take a much different opinion. This. Have you noticed how much snow is out there? I have zero doubt. I don't know what time they started. I drove to work this morning. It's not great, but there are not plows enough on the planet to keep up with the snow coming down at the pace it was coming down. And they're going to keep working. And remember, snow events declared. Don't park on city streets so the plows can do their work. Side streets and whatnot, going to take you a lot longer to get there. But this is just good old-fashioned, brutal winter conditions. I have zero doubt that every plow operator in this region is out there doing their very best. And I guarantee every plow is out there, too. Mary, good morning.
Good morning. Mike, I thought you might be late, but you seem to do okay.
Well, I was 20 minutes later than usual, but that's okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, you always give yourself some slack.
You got to give yourself some slack.
Yeah. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on my fireplace.
Beautiful.
It has a new insert, and it's beautiful and romantic. And I'm going to put a little Bailey's in my coffee.
Atta girl.
I'm not going nowhere.
Mary, I love it. Good for you.
Darn tootin'. But I'm waiting for our guy.
He already emailed me. He's ready to go. 10:30 this morning. Gary Chalk.
Oh, good. Well, you have a great day.
Thanks, Mary. You too. Living retired every Thursday morning. One of Mary's favorite features. I kind of like that idea. I bought my beloved an electric fireplace, mind you, a couple of years ago for Christmas because she was talking about one. And guess who takes advantage of that electric fireplace more than anybody else in the house? That's right. It would be me. The dog used to come down and hang out with me, but it's in the basement with the basement TV set up, and that's where I usually curl up and watch. And I love it. Oh, do I love it. George is with us on the show this morning. Good morning, George.
Good morning, Mike. How you doing?
I'm top shelf, my friend. How are you?
I'm treading through all this snow. I'm trying to find the quick routes here and there. But I have to ask you, how did little Rosie the pandemic pup do this morning?
Well, I'll tell you, George, and thanks for checking in on her. She is going to love this day. But this morning, see, when I get up, the alarm goes off around 5:15, and by the time I'm out of the house around 6, she's not up yet, or at least we don't get her up. But since she's chill, she gets the whole routine. So when my beloved gets up before she goes to work, then Rosie will be outside. But I guarantee you, Rosie is prancing and hopping through the backyard, happy as a pig in manure. Guaranteed. She loves this stuff. And I'm looking forward to our walk later today, if we can make it through. She'll love it. I don't know how this old fart is going to manage. Just getting back to what Ron was saying about the plows and this and that. And again, I assure you, they're all out there. Every plow we have is on the road right now. And I mentioned the snow event, keeping your car off the street so that the plows can do their work. Phil sends an interesting suggestion via email to Mike at 570news.com. And he just asks, is it time for the entire region to ban on-street parking from December through April, as opposed to this on-again, off-again snow event being declared? What if we just created it, a scenario whereby you can't park on the street in the winter months? You might be onto something there, Phil. You might be onto something there. And Sean's email to Mike at 570news.com, those people in their 4x4s are indestructible in their minds. They think having four-wheel drive can get them through anything, so they drive like idiots. As someone who drives for a living, I see it too many times. The funny thing is, I see more 4x4s in the ditch than two-wheel drives. I get you, Sean, and I appreciate the email. That Jeep that passed me on the highway this morning, he had traction or more confidence than I did. But Sean makes a good point. Let's just be careful out there. Take your time getting where you're going. Steve, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm okay, thanks. How are you?
Not bad. Tow truck operator up here. I'm about, I'd say about an hour north of you, up in the beautiful metropolis. It's a lovely day outside. What's everybody out?
Settle down, lovely day. What's the matter? Are you drinking this morning?
I have not been drinking. I've not been drinking, but I did have an issue with that guy. I guess is it proper to say breaking balls about the snowplow operators?
Yeah.
Those guys got a hard job. And I just want to say they're out there and they're working hard and they're trying to keep these roads safe. And he was complaining about the ice underneath the snow. Well, we did have some warmer temperatures, so when this cold snowball, those warm roads, it forms ice underneath.
There you go.
That's how it goes. Thanks for the time.
Okay, Steve, thanks. And you're starting to break up a bit. You got a hard job too, my friend, as a tow truck operator. And we know about the towing industry lately and those awful incidents of drivers being hit on the side of the highway. Thanks to you, too, for being out there. And I'm with you, Steve. These plow operators doing their work, earning their pay big time today. It's the Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. It is, of course, the pressing issue here in the region of Waterloo, and it affects us all. Not only is there the concern that we all feel when we hear from our regional government that we do not have enough water, or I guess to put it most accurately, we have enough water right now, but we do not have enough water to sustain our rapidly increasing population as we look towards a future of 1 million people here in the region. An issue has been identified when it comes to our water quantity. The quality is fine. As we are here today, everything is just tickety-boo. Although, you might recall that we reached a 96% capacity the other day within the available water here, which leaves just that 4% buffer from 100. You know, we can all do that math. What the region likes to have is a 20% buffer so that in the event of an emergency, we have that buffer within the water supply. But the implications of this are far-reaching. Again, if we are to meet the target of 1 million people by 2051, we're going to have to build, and we can't build if we don't have the available water. If we can't build, then people who may be inclined to build here will go somewhere else to build because you can't build here because they don't have enough water to sustain us. And then those jobs go somewhere else. And then let's not forget about the buildings that bring in increased taxes for our municipalities. If our municipalities are not collecting those increasing taxes, well, that's going to impact the rest of us as well, isn't it? We're going to do a deeper dive into the water issue, if you'll forgive the turn of phrase, in our first two segments today. Just after 10, we'll get into the provincial side of this and ask the question, what role, if any, the province played in leading us to where we are at today. But let's first take a look at this on a more localized level on behalf of builders in this region who are asking for a task force to be struck to address the water capacity issues here in the region. Melissa Durrell is the executive officer with Build Urban. That's the organization asking for this task force to be created. And Melissa joins us on the program this morning. Can we just start, Melissa, with the overall reaction? I mean, when you hear about a water capacity issue here in the region as Build Urban, what's the reaction to that?
So thanks for the question, Mike. The first thing I'd like to say, a lot of people don't know Build Urban. It's only been around for about 5 years at this time. And it started because the Waterloo home builders represent builders, planners, architects, that whole awesome group, and mostly focused on greenfield. So Build Urban is 17 of the urban developers. So these are the ones that are building the towers, the mid-rises, really in those urban environments. And I think that that's really an important point to make because we're the ones building up for the most part. Intensification is a huge part for us. Now, most of these pipes already exist in urban environments. And I think that that is one of the issues for us. We are building, and a lot of times, as you know, urban brownfield development is more expensive than greenfield. It can be at times. And so our developers are looking at years, like they're buying the land. This is a 2, 3, 4, 5 year, beginning with buying the land and then financing it out. So for us, we are all about long-term planning. Like the official plans mean a lot to us. That's where the growth is going to happen. So this organization has worked really hard to move those numbers where they're supposed to be moving, which is we need to plan for this population growth. On December 9th, with no notice, we were basically told that anything that wasn't currently that had a building permit, everything was paused. And then fast forward another basically 5 weeks to where we were about 2 or 3 days ago and got a little bit more information. That's for this is investors that are investing millions of dollars into our community. It's $1 billion industry. That's how we're reacting right now.
Right. And that money then, all of that planning, all of that financing gets stalled. I mean, you can't do anything with it. And yet it's not like the banks are going to be forgiving on any interest or anything like that if you can't build as a result.
No, and I mean, it gets really complex when we get to financing. There's different kinds of loans and those kinds of things. But really, I think at the end of the day, what we are understanding is that this is an engineering issue, that currently our water capacity We have enough water capacity. We've been told over and over again, this isn't about quality, it's about quantity. And we currently have enough quantity for the community that we have. That includes some of the buildings that are already about to be built. But that's the gray area. And I think that's, if you can hear it in my voice, there's what does that actually mean for some of us? Or if we're building on an old industrial site where we already know that they were using a lot of water, has that been built into the model so those buildings can move forward? If you're replacing one house with 3 townhouses, is there enough water? We just don't even have answers to those kinds of micro questions, which I think that's really what we're focused on right now. But I think, overall at this point, what we really want to see is the data, so we can dig into that data on our own. And I think from what you saw at Regional Council, we are here sitting at the table with solutions. We can help the regional government and the provincial government with solutions. We've got a ton of them on the table. We need to believe that what this data looks like, understand it, trust the data that's coming in, and then we'll work with them on solutions. For us, the point that I think needs to be made over and over again is Waterloo Region is not closed for business. We will continue to build. We're going to continue to grow. We want to attract new businesses, new people into our community. And the region of Waterloo has an engineering issue with water, and it's going to have to figure that out. And that's where we're going to sit and stay.
Further to that idea, Melissa, of working with the region through this on solutions, Build Urban is calling for the creation of an industry water capacity task force. What does that mean? What does that look like?
Terms of reference can come at another time. What we really want to see now is get eyeballs on data that we're currently, that we haven't really seen, don't necessarily understand. Not to get too into the weeds on it, there used to be one way that we looked at water capacity. We've changed methodologies. I mean, I think a lot of us have learned more about the water system in Waterloo Region than we ever knew before. But, that methodology has put all of this into the spotlight. And so we want to understand what that methodology actually looks like. We want to so I think this industry task force, we need to build trust up with the regional government, make sure that the cities are understanding what that looks like. A townhouse can move forward. A 12-story tower might have to wait for a couple of extra weeks because a well is coming online. Like, these are little micro things that most people in our region don't know, don't care about. It's part of the building process, but it's being put into the spotlight and it's getting put on a national stage. And that's what's concerning to us, because we don't want that kind of messaging not getting out there, but people saying that we're closed for business. We are absolutely not closed for business. We've been investing in this community. We want to continue to build in this community, and the governments have to start to, the municipalities are very much on board with this. As you can see from the Monday council meetings, they're moving things forward so we won't get that traffic jam at the end of the day. So I can see the municipalities are doing what they need to do. We need the region to be more open, more transparent, and share more information with us.
And this idea about ensuring that the message is heard, that we are open for business here in the region, makes me think of the ripple effect. If the opposite message, if we're closed for business, then people with money who are ready to build would find another municipality to build in, would take the skilled trades with them to do that work. And all of a sudden, the region of Waterloo is the furthest thing from 1 million ready, if I can put it that way.
We had a Build Urban membership meeting today, and there are many stories around that boardroom table of people having to meet with their financiers and their investors, and they're having these questions, and they are looking at other cities as we speak today, because financing is very much risk averse. And so if you can go into a community that will not have issues, that's where you're going to go and build. This is a massive communication issue right now that needs to be solved immediately. We need to be talking about how we are ready for growth. We've got some engineering things that we are working on in this community that will allow more capacity, but we are the 10th largest community in Canada. this is not the kind of language we want to have around our community. I mean, we're all so invested in it. It just doesn't make sense.
I can tell just from the urgency in your voice, Melissa, and these conversations that are happening outside of regional council chambers, that time really is of the essence here. I heard it said at the regional council meeting this week that government might have to move at a pace with which it is not comfortable or accustomed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we were all saying, we actually said that again today around our table. Like, if you got to work weekends, if you've got to work nights, we need to get these changes. And, we've heard some information around, some of the wells or some of the pumping stations that, we can probably have it online in the next 3 to 4 months. And that could add another 50,000 people capacity. That's how I'm measuring the water. Will this allow, how many more people can we bring in? So that is not the technical terms. I am not a water engineer. I should have said that right off the hop. But what I am is someone who can take really complex ideas and try to simplify them. And at the end of the day, what we need is the region to say, here are some of the smaller things that we can do. It's going to make capacity for people to be able to move in. We need to see it. Like, I don't want to hear any more talk. I want to start to see what these things look like. I think we all feel the same way. What are these quick fixes? How is that going to allow more capacity to come into this region so that our developers can continue to move forward and grow and not lose investment? And really, this is about economic development. That's one of the things we keep saying. We've been a shining star, I would say, in this community for decades. And, from the LRT, we've always been one of a community that kind of punches above its weight. I don't want to look back. I want to look forward. And right now, we're spending way too much time talking about what had happened. We need to be looking at how we solve this problem, this engineering problem, a water capacity issue, so that we can continue to grow.
I couldn't agree more on where we've been, how we've arrived to where we've arrived at in this community, punching above our weight for all of this time. Just, I think, reinforces the importance of the moment that we are trying to meet here in the region right now. As always, Melissa, appreciate the time that you make for us. Thanks very much for being on the show.
My pleasure, Mike.
Melissa Durrell is an executive officer with Build Urban. Build Urban delegated at that regional council meeting or committee meeting at regional headquarters earlier this week, calling for a water capacity task force to address the service area constraints. In addition to that, Build Urban is asking that the region reconsider its 20% operational resiliency buffer that I mentioned earlier, because this buffer is leaving the current threshold and making it overly restrictive given the severity of the current water capacity issue. There is concern in the building and development community that if we give the impression beyond our borders or even within that we're closed for business when it comes to building, that has far-reaching impacts. We have been, I would argue, punching above our weight for a long time. Somebody somewhere along the way missed something. A mistake was made. I don't think we'll ever find out who made that mistake or where it was made, but this sort of thing doesn't just happen overnight. And the news came to us very suddenly, and essentially we didn't just apply the brakes, we stomped on them to say, hang on, we cannot move applications forward through the region. Build Urban proposes an industry water capacity task force to work alongside regional and municipal stakeholders, technical experts, and the provincial government to get to the bottom of this but quick. Your thoughts always welcome on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
We've been investing in this community. We want to continue to build in this community. And the municipalities are very much on board with this. As you can see from the Monday council meetings, they're moving things forward so we won't get that traffic jam at the end of the day. So I can see the municipalities are doing what they need to do. We need the region to be more open, more transparent, and share more information with us.
Melissa Durrell is an executive officer with Build Urban, needing more transparency from the region. We have been lacking in that, it seems, to this point, at least from where I'm sitting. Clarity on the issue is also something that we're struggling with because, again, this sort of thing does not happen overnight. But we have had to hammer on the brakes here to try to get this thing sorted. And my greatest concern is around the length of time it's going to take us to get this thing sorted. As was mentioned at the meeting at regional headquarters earlier this week, this regional government is going to have to move at a pace with a sense of urgency that makes it uncomfortable, that it's probably not accustomed to moving. We talk about this all the time in government, right? How long it takes to turn around that bus. We gotta hustle here. And with the number of stakeholders that need to be involved, including the province, I don't know. You can't create a new aquifer overnight. You can't build a pipeline tomorrow. You can make decisions to move in that direction, but it's going to take years decades in the case of a pipeline. So I worry about the speed with which we can get this thing moving. Let's get to the phones. Dallas is with us this morning. Good morning, Dallas.
Yes, sir. Number 30 here.
Farwell's Force member number 30. Good morning to you.
I'm going to chirp in on this water thing only because I find it laughable. Simply because, and I haven't heard a whole lot about it, but I did hear that there was a report back in 2023 that we were going to be in trouble, and nothing was acted on it. I don't know, and you just said, well, that regional government, they have a little problem with acting on things in a timely manner, and, well, so here we are.
Yeah, here we are indeed, Dallas, and that echoes something along the lines of what Clinton is saying via email to Mike at 570news.com. We're being told the water capacity crisis is an engineering issue, but the engineer responsible can only work with the information they receive. They rely on every city and municipality to report all new housing and redevelopment accurately. If even one local government misses something, that gap flows up to the region, and that's how we end up with no capacity. That did get raised, Clinton, at the meeting at regional headquarters earlier this week, but the cities say they have been reporting accurately, and they've got the receipts to prove it. What sounds like happened here is there was a misreading of that data or a misapplication of that data, and the region was kind of measuring wrong, which is why these infill projects, right, in areas where there used to be 6 houses and now there's a tall apartment building. They didn't accurately account for the impact on the water supply from those infill developments. That sounds like what was behind all of this. And Marion says via email to Mike at 570news.com, why not investigate connecting to London's Lake Huron water line? One was built years ago from Lake Huron to London to provide water to that city. Obviously, the groundwater and surface water of the Grand River is not sufficient to provide for Waterloo region's needs. I think the problem with that is, and that's why we always talk about a pipeline to Lake Erie, is because you'd be going through too many other jurisdictions on the way to Lake Huron. And it would be even more expensive than the proposed pipeline to Lake Erie. That's my understanding on the pipeline side, Marion. We're going to get you an update from the 570 News Center, but then we're going to stay on this issue because, yes, it's an issue here at home, but what impact might provincial decisions have had on what we're now facing here in the region of Waterloo? We'll talk about that next on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. According to Canada's National Observer, in a story published on Tuesday, Ontario's government and Premier Doug Ford approved more than 100 permits in the past 5 years, allowing industry to take water for industrial and commercial use here in the region of Waterloo. And that's despite the province's own data showing that some of these permits carried the highest risk of unacceptable environmental impact. More than 100 such permits, not all the highest risk, but some of them being of the highest risk in the past 5 years. Could that in any way be contributing to the situation we find ourselves here in the region today? Catherine Fife is the NDP MPP for Waterloo and joins us for a conversation. Catherine, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. It's good that you made it in safely today.
I did. It took me a little while longer than usual, but we are here safely, and I appreciate that. When you heard this, and you may have been aware all along because we know that this provincial government has been hell-bent on growth. But what's your takeaway from learning that more than 100 permits issued here in the region over the past 5 years?
Yeah, and that was also in addition, Mike, to some of the regular permits to take water that are already on the books. So that I think that's the key piece here. And listen, we've known now since 2018, this government has continually been removing the environmental oversight, certainly have compromised our local conservation authorities, and all of this is done through legislation, but primarily down through regulation. So we actually haven't had. We've known that it's dangerous, and we've been, obviously voting against pieces of legislation like 23 and 185. But at the same time, the region even admitted that, they weren't aware of the aggressive action that the Ford government has taken around, haphazardly giving permits to companies to take our water. And of course, the story breaks as we've learned that the region now is pausing all development because they've discovered just prior to Christmas that in 2023, 2024, 2025, we have been struggling to maintain water levels. So, is this a coincidence? I think not. We know that in Waterloo region, we have limited water because we rely 80% of our water comes from groundwater. So we are an outlier in the province of Ontario. And the government to date has thought that red tape, is going to get in the way of housing. Well, what we've learned here now in Waterloo is that protecting our water is not red tape. And in fact, now will impact our ability to meet our housing needs. So this is a very serious situation, Mike.
You talk, Catherine, about the haphazard manner in which these permits have been issued, and conserving water or protecting this resource is not red tape. And I can't help but wonder, there must be mechanisms in place, even from the provincial level, or did they get removed? How does it get to this point where there seems to be no care at all for the impact on the ground, if you will?
So what has happened that is very different than in the past is that, the Ford government has changed Ontario's rules several times now to make it easier for companies to take water. And there aren't as many eyes on those permits. Some changes allow water taking permits to be transferred between companies without even a new public review, Mike. Other changes allow, mining companies to take water for early stage exploration without permit. So, this whole open for business, mantra that we hear from the provincial government, this is a government that doesn't understand that when you don't conserve or sustainably manage your resources, then you also put those commercial enterprises at risk. For us here in Waterloo region, though, the region has already admitted that they made a mistake, that they did not consider infill population growth on the impact on the water. I think many of us were surprised by that, to be fair, especially since we were legislated as a good place to grow under the former Liberal government. So we've been growing up. We've been doing what the province has asked us to do, but we should focus, what has the province not done? The province has not provided the appropriate infrastructure funding. They have not provided, critical expertise because they've taken their eye off the ball as far as water conservation goes as well. So this is not, absolving anybody of blame, but it shouldn't be about pointing fingers either, because we need a solution. This is a serious situation.
It certainly is, and my ears perked up when you referred to the open for business mantra that this provincial government has long had. And there's concern here in the region, and we just talked to a builders association in our first half hour today, Catherine, about their concern about the narrative getting out that we are closed for business here in the region. Look, you know this as well as anybody from your time in government, that we are a place to grow. We're expecting greater population. How concerned are you about this sudden pause on development here in the region?
Yeah, listen, I just want to say, on the developers that, came to speak at the region of Waterloo, they made a compelling case. They said, they have done the investment. So they're carrying the financial burden for these plots of land and for waiting for this pipeline of approval. So now you have a moment where, people are watching Waterloo region across the country and perhaps from other places and looking at us, as a good place to invest. What company would come to Waterloo region if they know that we have an existing and, we missed the ball on our water conservation? So this will impact, economic, this will impact housing in a housing crisis in the province of Ontario and in this region. And so all eyes right now need to be on a solution. A solution. And there's multiple stages to that solution. Urgently right now, Mannheim needs to be upgraded. So the provincial government has so graciously volunteered to forward some funding. They were part of the problem, so they need to be part of the solution. We need to get Mannheim up and running. We need a very comprehensive conservation strategy. The region has been almost silent on this. And honestly, we need to start looking at our water in this region as an economic strength and not something that we should just be giving away like hundreds of billions of liters. This is not sustainable. It's not smart. And this is how we got to this place. So let's focus on how we can, prioritize some of those housing projects, because we have a wait list for housing, which is unbelievable. We have record encampments across Ontario, including here in Waterloo region. And we need a government that understands that, protecting our resources, protecting our water is not red tape. It is actually key to a strong economy.
You mentioned the funding from the province that will come to help upgrade or repair Mannheim, get it back up and running. We know that the solution here, Catherine, is not going to happen in a vacuum. Nobody here at the region is going to solve this by itself. The province will have to be at the table. What role can or should the province play in getting this problem fixed?
Well, we're in an aggressive tariff war right now. We're moving into a hopefully not a serious recessionary downturn. We need to create good local jobs. So the province of Ontario should see an opportunity here to invest significantly in our water infrastructure so we can actually reach our potential as a community, and also by way of also creating good local jobs. So the province does have that role. But, I'm currently, reaching out to the Ministry of the Environment to also, put an economic lens on how they have been allowing companies to remove water from our aquifer. We are very different. There is no pipeline here for Waterloo region. And now people are starting to talk about a pipeline, but a pipeline is not going to be the solution to this urgent situation right now. The pipeline is going to take a decade. So we need to be smart. The region of Waterloo started a Waterloo strategy 3 years ago, and we're studying, the sustainability of this resource. I want to know what happened to that report. I want to know, at what point did we really understand how seriously we have neglected the aquifer and the water resources? I'm very alarmed to learn that, that the region has, essentially said, if there's one major break or if there's one major significant issue that happens with our water infrastructure, we're going to be in trouble. So one final point, Mike. At some point, someone has to be an adult in the room and say, should we be growing to 1 million people when we do not have enough water right now for our existing population? These are hard questions. They're going to be difficult conversations. But, this is a wake-up call, and hopefully it's not too late.
Catherine, I appreciate the time today. Thank you very much for joining the show.
Okay, thanks so much, Mike. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye. Catherine Fife is the MPP for Waterloo. That last question, does that one hit home? If you were watching on Rogers TV Cable 20, you would have seen me raise my eyebrows and nod my head. That is the difficult question that has to be answered. Should we be growing to 1 million people? I know. The Places to Grow Act. We are one of those places in this province designated for growth. We have been planning for or thinking about forward planning for 1 million people now by 2051 and all that comes with that, including, I will remind you again, the additions to the tax rolls in our municipalities. And municipalities are thinking this is going to be the bankroll of the future. Well, we're going to have to undo all of that if we answer the question, should we grow to 1 million people, with no. It's going to be a reimagining then of the next couple of decades in this community. I think it's an excellent question to ask, and the adults in the room will be the ones forced to answer it. Maybe you've got an answer or a thought to that question this morning. I can't help but think this coming June, 6 months from now, will mark 8 years since Doug Ford became Premier of Ontario. Are the chickens now coming home to roost, so to speak, with decisions that were made early? Open for business, now out of water. Let's squeeze in one call before the break. Kevin is with us. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. I'm a farmer in the Manheim area.
Yes, sir.
Been farming there for 50 years. I am over 60 now. And 50 years ago, the region used to come and measure our well twice a year faithfully. We ran into some problem with a shortage of water for our dairy herd at that time. And we said something to the region, we're short on water with our well. They said, not our problem, and they stopped checking our well every year. So they left it up to us to dig a deeper well so we had sufficient water for our herd. So I find it really surprising that they didn't see this coming. I have 8 children, and we enjoy skating in our swamp. Well, this year there's no water in the swamp. It was sucked dry. Is that coincidence? Because I'm in the area where the wells are drawing the water? I don't think so.
Kevin, am I ever glad you called in? And I'm glad I got to take this call before the break, because to hear from somebody that's been on the land and working the land and seeing this with his own eyes for all these years is certainly educational for us. Thanks very much for calling in today.
Okay. Do you want any more input, or are you going to go to break?
I'll take a little bit more. I mean, I push brakes all the time around here, Kevin. Give it to me.
Okay. Well, we were into vegetables, and I wanted to irrigate my pumpkins because it was a dry year, and I had to go through the Grand River Conservation Area, and I wasn't allowed to because of the shortage of water in the area. I wasn't able to provide the moisture for my crops to grow because it was more important that the region had water. The other thing I'd like to say is, if I had gas on my farm, if I had gravel on my farm, I could be earning a living on that. All I have is water. They take that for nothing. And because they're doing that, my crops were suffering from the lack of water. I'm not allowed to irrigate. And for some reason, it's okay to pay neighboring farms down the road $100,000 an acre so they can build a mega factory on the same road as I am, but my land is protected because I'm in the water protection zone. Wow. Is that ever a low blow that they can almost steal the water from my farm for nothing and not reimburse me?
Kevin, thanks for the work that you do, and thanks again for calling in today. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
Great to hear from you. There's some perspective. We'll take a break and get your perspective. Phone lines open on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
At some point, someone has to be an adult in the room and say, should we be growing to 1 million people when we do not have enough water right now for our existing population? These are hard questions. They're going to be difficult conversations. But, this is a wake-up call, and hopefully it's not too late.
$1 million question about 1 million people from Waterloo MPP Catherine Fife joining us this morning to talk about the province's role in creating the water problem. And it's a big one we've got right here in the region right now. Let's go back to the phones, hear more from you. Rory, good morning.
Mike, plus 11 to this today. I mean, oh my goodness. What a day. Mike, it might be the $100 million question from Miss Fife. And she does ask a great question. And one of the things that I think has been missed as part of this discussion, both at the regional table this week and in general, and kudos to this news article that came out, we have a problem that spans the entire water network. And one of the things that I don't think we're spending enough time talking about is the source. Our recharge areas that continue to be destroyed by development. Our source water protection areas that are being destroyed by, for example, aggregate pits in Wilmot Township. And this is an issue that not only has the region signed off on, but the region has signed off on in part of provincial legislation. So we need better protection for our source. And that is our recharge areas and our source water protection areas. That includes, Mike, a moratorium, a blue belt that basically guarantees that our source water protection areas and our regional recharge areas that supply us with the water that we have do not get destroyed from this point on. And that needs to be addressed immediately.
Rory, appreciate the call. Like the idea of a blue belt. It's interesting. And again, it's a finite resource. I know it seems to be in abundance here in Canada, water, that is. But we really, and this, if this isn't the wake-up call, I don't know what is. Sandra, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. First of all, I love your show. Secondly, this is kind of a repeat of what people have been talking about, but about 6 or 7 years ago, I was at a Provost meeting in Kitchener, and there was a speaker there from the water people in the Waterloo region water people, and she was quite a high-up person in it. And at that time, she said, we have a major problem in our region, and if they keep building, we're going to have a major problem. And that was 6 or 7 years ago, and nothing was done. So that was the first thing. I thought this has been a problem for a lot longer than even 2 or 3 years. And then the other thing was that I agree 100% with you about this yellow, red, orange thing. It's really quite stupid, absolutely ridiculous. And I just think it's a case of too many people in the government with not enough to do.
Amen, Sandra. Amen.
It's crazy. Anyway, that's all I had to say. But I had to say about this, that we knew about this all those years ago.
Thank you.
So, okay, Mike. Bye-bye. You have a lovely day.
Thank you. I hope you have a lovely day as well. Great to hear from you. I'm not surprised that somebody in the know said something all those years ago. Do we listen to experts? Do we have enough expertise in-house? I think those are fair questions to ask as well, because, again, I'll just be clear about this. Somewhere along the lines, somebody done gummed up real good on this. To Sandra's last point about the yellow, orange, red alerts from Environment Canada, I kind of joked at the beginning of the show, but from the heart. Like, I don't get it. I don't give a tinker's darn what color the alert is. Just tell me how much snow is coming. Like, what are we doing here? Anyway, on that note, I have a friend at Environment Canada. He's a great guy, and he's always willing to take one for the team. He texted me earlier. He says, I'm going to call later and explain the very good reasons for it. I can't wait. And when he does, you'll get to hear that explanation too. I don't know that I'm going to buy it, but we'll hear what Environment Canada thinks about these goofy color-coded weather alerts. Just don't eat the yellow snow. This is the Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka, ooga, ooga. I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. Girl, you just don't realize what you do to me. When you hold me in your arms so tight, you let me know everything's alright. I'm hooked on a feeling.
Oh, I got that Thursday morning feeling. I've got that living retired feeling. Oh, man. If I were living retired right now, let me tell you what I would be doing. I'd be standing outside with my shovel, and I'd be shoveling. And that's it. I would just keep shoveling because this snow is coming down so fast and so furious that the minute you finish shoveling, you're going to have to shovel all over again. But at least I would be living retired, and then I would have all the time I need to shovel. Living Retired is also the name of a humor column written by our good friend Gary Chalk. You can find it online at livingretired.press. And while you're there, sign up for the weekly newsletter to be delivered right into your inbox. That column will show up on Mondays for you to have a chuckle in your inbox. And don't forget also at livingretired.press, when you connect with Gary there, he would be more than happy to bring his unique talents, his gift of humor and gab to your service club or other event where you need a speaker, because Gary Chalk is as good as they come in that department. Mr. Chalk, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Mike with a mic, and Mary on her bike. And I got to tell you, Mike, I heard her comment today. She said, and she's got it right, this is what living retired is about. She's going to sit at her fireplace and have Baileys. So you know what? I usually don't drink Baileys in the morning. I prefer rye. No. But anyways, I grabbed the bottle of Baileys here to come to the office. Jan said, Gary, it's 10 o'clock. You got a problem.
The problem is only if that Bailey's bottle was empty, Gary.
Oh, believe me, I always had another one waiting.
Well, thanks for putting down the shovel long enough today as you're living retired to make time for the show. My goodness.
Oh, I'm telling you. You know, let's talk about weather forecasting. You know, everybody's upset today, and I understand. But if we sort of take a big look at the picture, let's just look at weather forecasting throughout civilization.
Okay.
And we can go back and talk about how they predicted weather in the Mesopotamia era. We can talk about forecasting in the Paleolithic era. Then there was the Renaissance era. There's all that stuff. But let's get more contemporary, where we are today. As a baby boomer, I grew up in what they called the Leave It to Beaver era. And back in the Leave It to Beaver era, Mike, if it was going to be icy, the forecasters would say, get ready for it, they'd say, it's going to be icy. And we knew what that meant, and our moms put us in snowsuits, and off we trudged to school. We didn't have school crossing guards. We didn't have school buses, unless you lived out in the country. And we didn't have speed cameras. In fact, Mike, believe it or not, in the Leave It to Beaver era, we were allowed, it was legal, we could set off fireworks. We could.
What a great era that was.
It was. Now, the forecasting, it started to change after they, first of all, in the Leave It to Beaver era, said, you know, if it's going to be icy, it's going to be icy. They said, we got to get up our game. So they enhanced their forecast with some more valuable information by developing the phrase, partly sunny. Now, when our fathers would be driving home from the work, listening on the car radio, and they heard it was going to be partly sunny, our dads weren't no fools. They'd immediately say to themselves out loud, so does that mean it's also partly cloudy?
I've asked the same question.
And with that, Dad would reach forward to the dash and smack the push-button radio button. Well, then the Leave It to Beaver era started to grow as far as forecasting in advance, and they went out on a limb for all the Wallies of the world in those days, and they said now there will be a 50% chance of rain. And dads driving home would say to themselves, so does that mean 50% chance of sun? or no rain. It's no wonder when Dad got home from work and sat down to his Hungry Man TV dinner, he'd burn his mouth when he ate the applesauce that was up in that one little corner of the foil plate. So that's what it was like back in the Leave It to Beaver era.
Yeah.
And so then, while we were replacing windows because we bought homes and we upgraded our wall-to-wall shag carpeting and we got some mortgages and things like that, eventually we came to the 1990s. In the 1990s, of course, scientists have dubbed that as the Kardashian era. Right? Now, instead of telling us it was going to be icy, the weather forecasters, they wanted to be clear. So they said, there's going to be a weather event. What on earth is a weather event? Do you know?
I remember when Snowmageddon was first used. I think that was some kind of event. I have no idea.
Well, put it this way. A weather event, it scared the bejeebers out of the bazillions of Kardashian followers because they found about it when they were watching E! On television. So what the Kardashian followers did, they exercised immediately extreme weather precautions. And right away, they squeezed into their bikinis and posed on cigarette boats for the paparazzi. See, this is how it works. So the difference, Mike, the Leave It to Beaver era, forecasters said it was going to be icy. The Kardashian era, the forecasters, if it was going to be icy, they said we're going to have a weather event. And this all brings us around to where we are in history now, which is the Taylor Swift era.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, the Taylor Swift era, the forecasters, they've upped their game. No longer can these forecasters tell it's going to be icy, or they don't have to tell us it's a weather event. I'm not making this up, Mike. They last week said there will be ice secretion. Did you hear that?
I'm glad I missed it, Gary, because I did not need to hear that.
It was. They said it was ice secretion. I was heading out the door that morning, and Jan said, "What's the weather today? Should I wear my boots?" I said, "Well, I would, because they're predicting ice secretion." She said, "What's that?" And I said, "Jan, it beats me, because to understand the weather forecast these days, I haven't the foggiest."
You know it's foggy when you can't see the weather app on your phone, Gary.
Exactly.
Yes.
So just a quick recap. The Leave It to Beaver era, if it was going to be icy, they said it's going to be icy. Kardashian era, if it's going to be icy, they said there's going to be a weather event. And then now in the Taylor Swift era, if it's going to be icy, they say there's going to be ice secretion. And what this does alerts the gazillions of Swifties to act fast because of the impending treacherous weather. They hunker down and make friendship bracelets.
It's perfect. It's a great way to kill a snow day.
Exactly. So then a few years ago, all the European models were the big talk, right? They're the forecasters. They were saying we have the North American models, we have the European models. The general belief was that the European weather models were more sophisticated because they were draped in Coco Chanel and smoking Jetan cigarettes. So, with all this, Monty, Mike, I'm telling you, if the weather forecasts have you suffering the January's blues, it's understandable, because these days of overcast, it's difficult to have a sunny disposition.
That it is. That it is. In fact, while Rosie and I were out for our walk yesterday afternoon, I said out loud, it's not a bad day. The sidewalks were dry. It was not too cold, all things considered. But I also said out loud, could use a little sun, though. We haven't seen that in a while. No wonder I'm so cranky on this show. I don't have a sunny disposition. Gary Chalk joins us Thursday mornings, 10:30 for Living Retired. We continue on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. The weather. Whether you like it or not, you're going to get what you're going to get. You can get upset, though. I know I do at this time of year. We missed it by a lot today. We're going to get about 30 centimeters of snow instead of the 10 to 20. And now the alert is orange instead of yellow. I have no idea what that means, but I do know that on Thursday mornings at this time, we are joined by our good friend Gary Chalk. He is the humor columnist that writes Living Retired. You can find it online at livingretired.press, and you can find Gary on our show every Thursday morning starting at 10:30. You know, Gary, all this winter weather's got me thinking. Like, have you put a bow on Christmas at the Chalk household yet?
Oh, we did. I'm telling you. Hey, did you get anything special for Christmas this year?
I got to wake up the next morning and put Bailey's back in my coffee. Yes.
So you pretended you were at work.
Exactly.
Well, we woke up on Christmas morning, and Jan opened a gift from our son and his wife, and she looked at it, and she smiled, and she said, "This is lovely. I've always wanted one." And with that, she passed the box over to me, and I looked at it, and I smiled, but not for long, because what Tyler and Sharon gave us was Bluetooth enabled. And here I was having a good Christmas morning. Bluetooth enabled. Mike, those two words, Bluetooth enabled, they give me the willies. I mean, just like those two other dreaded words. I do. Just kidding. But in our house, Bluetooth enabled, it might as well as mean doesn't work. What the gift was, our Bluetooth-enabled Christmas gift, is a very, very contemporary, sleek, digital Aura frame. And on this digital Aura frame, it displays photographs and videos from our iPhones on a big 13 by 11-inch frame. So now picture this, Mike. About every 15 seconds when you set this up, a new picture pops up on this big frame. And it doesn't stop there, though. The Aura frame means Jan and I can flaunt an infinite number of our family photos. We can just keep piling them on this thing. And, for instance, when you and your wife come for dinner some night, we can just show you as many of these photos of ourselves as you can stomach. So not wanting to kill the Christmas spirit before we set up our digital frame, we stocked up on more spirits, I'll be honest. So Jan opened the box. I don't know what it got into me. I read the directions, and immediately I started firing off questions to Jan. I said, Jan, do we have iOS or Android devices? And then a little further I read, and then I said, Jan, do you know my password for the App Store? And then the more I read, the more I got confused. I said, Jan, are we connected to Wi-Fi and is Bluetooth enabled? And then I said, Jan, do we download the app or do we upload the app? And then, do we download the photos or we upload the photos? And then I said, Jan, can you call my iPhone? I don't know where it is. And with that, then I said, Jan, do we really want to do this? So we decided we would. Before you could say a Kodak moment, Jan gave me a tutorial on transferring our photos and videos from our iPhones over onto this beautiful frame. I was having a blast. Didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know whether I was uploading or downloading. All I knew was I was just forwarding pictures from our phones to the Aura frame faster than Jan can bring home more decorator pillows for the bed. That's a lot, Mike.
I love it when the decorator pillows make an unscheduled appearance on the show, Gary.
Yeah, they just sort of pop in. You never know.
Do. Yeah.
So Jan decided, she said, let's put the digital Aura frame in the family room. And this way, we can watch our pictures while we're having lunch, if we're reading in the afternoon, watching television at night. She said, this is going to be so much fun. So that evening, we're having dinner, and the digital Aura frame was doing its thing. Every 15 seconds, another photograph popped up. Every 15 seconds, it would be replaced by another photograph that we'd uploaded or downloaded from my iPhone. Finally, Jan, she sort of quizzed me. She said, Gary, I've been watching the photos rotate through. So far, it's been photographs of you writing your living or retired column, you talking on the Mike Farwell show, pictures of you cooking dinner, you opening your Christmas presents, a video of you hiking in Spain, a photo of you and the captain on the riverboat, and at least a dozen pictures of you in the bedroom heaving decorator pillows across the floor. So I was at a loss of words. I didn't know what to say, but meanwhile, the photos, they just kept on coming. There I was holding our Teddy, our son's dog, when she was a pup. There I was taking Teddy for a walk. There was me playing with Teddy. There's me as a radio announcer when I had hair down to my shoulders. Finally, Jan she just put her fork down at the dinner table and she said, Gary, a picture is worth 1,000 words. but 1,000 pictures of you is not a pretty picture.
Gary, you should have had a picture of you in your on-trend shirt. Yeah. Surely that would have been the key here.
I think so. That's probably what it was missing. Thanks for that. I'm going to go down about 42 photographs of that now.
I like it.
To remember. So here's the question. Next time Rob Deutschman is in, you have to say, Rob, is Bluetooth enabled a marketing scheme by divorce attorneys?
It's going to cause a squabble or two, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Now, there was other silly gifts. Now, that wasn't a silly gift. That was a heartfelt gift. But some of the other top silly gifts for 2025. Did you hear about the fish flip-flops?
No.
They're fish-shaped sandals that you could buy.
No, you can't, Gary.
You can.
Okay.
I don't make this
I know.
stuff
Well,
up.
you tell me you don't make this stuff up, and then you bring up fish flip-flops.
Here's something. Hey, you want to impress your neighbors? You can buy, or maybe somebody was considering purchasing you for a gift for Christmas, Mike, one of those wacky waving inflatable, you know what car dealerships they put out and they...
I love those things, Gary. I love them. I want one. Somebody come and put it on my lawn for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sure the neighbors, they'd be delighted. There's also, you can have personalized face socks, mean you can stuff your foot in your sock and it's got a picture of you on your sock.
Perfect. It gives a whole new meaning to putting your foot in your mouth.
Oh, does it ever?
Yes.
And here's the last one. You could get a tortilla blanket, and it's a blanket that looks exactly like a giant tortilla. The beauty of this is when I slop taco sauce all down me, you never know.
That's true. It's like camouflage for taco eaters.
Exactly.
Oh, Gary, I love it. I hope you get dug out there at Living Retired headquarters, and thanks as always for being here.
Hey, have a good day.
I'll try. I mean, it's not going to be sunny, so you know what my disposition's going to be like.
You got it.
Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Gary Chalk writes a humor column called Living Retired. You can find it online at livingretired.press. While you're there, make sure you sign up so that column gets delivered directly to your inbox each and every week. And touch base with Gary. Maybe you'd like to have him speak at your event or service club or whatever the case may be. You get to hear the unique stylings of Gary Chalk every Thursday morning on this program at 10:30. It's a segment we call Living Retired because that's the title of the humor column. Again, online, livingretired.press. We're going to get you a traffic update in just over 60 seconds from now because we have a highway closure here in the region. Shocker, given this weather. And look, I know I keep overhearing coworkers who are coming in today talking about the conditions they encountered on their way here. It ain't pretty out there. If you have been fortunate enough to have a snow day, to work from home, stay there. Please stay there. If you have to be out, and you are out right now, make sure you take extreme care on the roads, okay? I guarantee you that our plowing crews are doing their very best, but it's not too often we get about 30 centimeters of snow in about 12 hours of time, right? Starting overnight, this was coming fast. It was coming furious. They are working as hard as they can. We can do our part, A, by not parking on the streets so the plows can get up and down those streets, and B, by just taking it easy on the roads. Go slower. You're still going to get there. It is a wicked winter day outside. Following this update and the traffic report from the 570 News Center, we're going to talk about Donald Trump's aspirations for Greenland and what does this mean for Canada. It's coming up on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. The United States, as you well know, has assumed control of Venezuela and those vast oil resources. And since then, U.S. President Donald Trump has not only been signaling that perhaps military intervention is required in Iran, but he has also reiterated his interest in Greenland. What does all this mean for the world and perhaps more specifically for us here in Canada. Christian Leuprecht is a professor in the Department of Political Science and Economics at Royal Military College and Queen's University. He's also a senior fellow at the Macdonald-Laurier Institute. Joins us for the conversation. Christian, good morning.
Good morning.
What is it that has sparked Donald Trump's interest in Greenland?
So I think, has genuine concerns about the security situation there. We've seen a considerable ramp up of collusion between Russia and China when it comes to the region. The commander of U.S. Northcom and NORAD went on record just a couple of days ago to that effect. And we've generally seen Russia invest aggressively in Arctic military capabilities. It has continued to maintain its significant submarine capacity, whereas at the end of the Cold War, allies drew down anti-submarine warfare capacities. So we have very limited ability outside of the United States to counter those hostile efforts. We know China is investing aggressively in dual-use technology. There's extensive disinformation by both Russia and China to local communities to undermine the legitimacy of governments with sovereign jurisdiction over their territories. But I think what people are really missing is that Greenland, Iceland, UK gap. This is where 90% of sea trade to Europe runs through. It is 95% of underwater critical infrastructure cables for data communications. And going back to World War II, this area is absolutely critically important geostrategically, because if you don't control it, it makes the transatlantic space in the United States and Europe very difficult to defend. So this is a vital area, and I would say you are seeing for the first time the genuine convergence of superpower competition and politics here as it plays out in the Arctic. And so we need to take this very seriously, because we have not been playing ahead, and the United States is deeply concerned about what adversaries are doing.
I heard a Danish minister just yesterday saying that Greenland is not for sale. They are not interested in this overture from the Oval Office in the United States. How could President Trump move forward with this agenda if he decides to do so?
So the United States has a 250-year history of asserting its interests in the hemisphere, in particular when it believes that its security is at stake. Of course, 250 years ago, December 31st, 1775, so we just had the 250th anniversary of George Washington and his troops marching through Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu and trying to take Quebec City. Of course, at the time, we had another country that had our back, which was the United Kingdom. We had those attempts again in the War of 1812. I mean, if you look at Panama, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Cuba, of course, now Venezuela. So the United States has a long history of acting unilaterally in the hemisphere to assert its interests. And so the wording from Donald Trump is a continuity of that. And the way we prevent that is by effectively addressing the concerns that the United States has raised about Greenland. And clearly those concerns go beyond the Cold War relic of the 1951 agreement that already allows the United States to effectively deploy troops as it chooses on Greenland. And it involves allies doing a lot more with very serious capabilities that allies currently don't have, because after the Cold War, we drew down our capabilities, and now we live in a world that largely the United States has been shaping in terms of international security, and yet we complain about that world. And as if Canadians, we don't like that world, we might want to look at ourselves and ask ourselves, why is it that we have no capabilities to shape this world or to assert our interests in this dispute?
Should the U.S. deploy troops in Greenland, Christian, what would that mean for NATO?
So we already, of course, have, Germany has just deployed troops to Greenland. So basically they're European allies who are trying to get ahead of the game here, probably as a signal to the Trump administration that some troops are welcome and others not so much these days. A possible, whatever you might want to call it, invasion, possession of Greenland by the United States would likely mean the end of NATO. Now, NATO is much more difficult to unravel than people think, and NATO, of course, has had many crises over the years, including existential crises, and has come out on the other side of all of them. But if the largest ally, that's effectively the guarantor of the alliance, were to effectively invade another member of the alliance, I'm not sure how the alliance would be able to continue to persist, this will generate very real problems for Canada on two fronts. One is that NATO is Canada's most important multilateral organization. It's the most important force multiplier for our interests because we can work with 31 other countries to assert our interests. If that organization falters, it means that we would be very isolated in the world. In addition to that, the United States would now control all approaches to Canada across all three seas because NORAD, the North American Air Defense Command, is already atrophying both as a result of technological change and as a result of organizational restructuring by the United States, including the recent announcement of a mega command for the hemisphere that will roll in U.S. Northern Command and Southern Command into one single mega command. And so if you think about how the Arctic is defended, there's a European Arctic over which NATO has purview, and there is a North American Arctic over which NORAD has purview. So if you have NORAD on the decline, it means necessarily U.S. assertion in the North American Arctic is going to increase because we don't have the capacity to assert our sovereignty and interests, which is why we entered into the NORAD agreement to begin with, because we're too small a country to afford those capabilities. And so it would mean that effectively we would become a quasi-colony of the United States, surrounded on all sides by the United States. And personally, I don't think that holds out particularly well for Canadian political and economic sovereignty.
I think your point earlier, Christian, about our frustration perhaps with the way the world is being reshaped should cause us to look inward and ask about our own ability as a nation to be a part of this reshaping or reshape it ourselves. And then you talk about how vulnerable Canada could be should the United States move aggressively into Greenland. Is there anything we can or should be doing? Should this be sending off any sort of alarm bells here in Canada?
Well, sure. There's things that we can be doing. Look, we came out of World War II with the fourth largest military in the world, a relatively modest-sized country. And we also came out of World War II with a vision of the world we didn't want to live in because we had just gone through two world wars and we said, we're not going to be doing this again. And so we invested aggressively in the institutions and the capabilities to shape that post-Cold world. Who in Canada today actually has a vision for the world that we want to live in and for the role that Canada should be playing in that world? I would say that for the last quarter century, we've essentially abdicated any form of a leadership position, and we've let our instruments of statecraft atrophy along with that. The other is, of course, that it is never too late. The situation is desperate, but it's not hopeless in the sense that we can acquire capabilities. We can signal to the Trump administration that we will take seriously our responsibilities, but that requires the government to make expeditious decisions. For instance, on procuring submarines, where we've been, of course, in good Canadian fashion, dithering about not just what we're going to acquire, but what are going to be the economic benefits for Canada. We have a defense industrial strategy. The government promised it in the Liberal election platform. It talked it up over the summer. It was in the throne speech. It was promised before the holiday break. And where are we? Still no defense investment strategy. Why? Because politicians are trying to balance their economic preferences for their ridings and how to get a country that economically, I would say, we've significantly mismanaged over the last decade, back up and running economically. And so they're trying to square defense priorities with economic priorities. And so if we want to act, we don't have years to try to figure this out. We have weeks and months. And in my view, it is incumbent upon the government to deliver that defense investment strategy and making sure that first and foremost, it delivers for defense and it delivers for instruments of statecraft. But of course, that requires very difficult political decisions. It requires a lot of heavy lifting, and it requires a lot of controversy in explaining that to Canadians. And we'll have to see. I think, Prime Minister Carney understands most of this, if not all of this. But does he actually have the courage to make those decisions, explain that to Canadians, and is he able to keep Cabinet and caucus on side while he does that?
I'm sure you heard yesterday the latest polling that suggests 1 in 3 Canadians believe the U.S. might try to invade Canada. When we look at the way the United States is behaving globally of late, any reason for Canadians to be truly concerned about that?
Well, if we're concerned about that, we're sure not acting that way, let me tell you. If we genuinely be concerned about that, we might be making prompt decisions that would actually give us the political, economic, fiscal, diplomatic, and military capabilities to ensure that the United States understands that we are a serious partner. Look, I think there's two things at play here. One is that for us to be taken seriously by the United States, we need to show up with real capabilities. If NORAD, as I posit, is on the decline, then our best bet forward is a very strong and robust Canadian Joint Operations Command that can work eye to eye with the new U.S. Hemispheric Command, as well as with NATO allies, and can convince the United States and NATO that the purview over the Arctic by NATO should be expanded into the Canadian Arctic. Of course, why would the Americans or NATO allies agree to that? Only if Canada shows up with real and serious capabilities and commitments, rather than these pronouncements that we make that we then actually then follow through, or that even worse, we make an announcement and then we walk it back for any number of reasons. So there's certainly ways that we can demonstrate to the United States that there's no need to invade Canada. The other is, of course, that the Trump administration doesn't need to invade Canada. Look, the USMCA is coming up for renegotiation very shortly, and I think Trump has a plan. He's going to let the USMCA atrophy, and he's going to negotiate bilaterally with each of Mexico and Canada because he wants very different things from each country. And he's really going to be tightening the thumb screws in Canada. That's going to lead to what we've already seen over the last year, significant decline in standard of living, only that the Carney government got really lucky because resource prices are so high, so that mitigated to some extent the economic fallout. But it's going to get very, very difficult economically in this country, I think, in the way the Trump administration is going to negotiate. This is why the Prime Minister is traveling the world trying to find new partners, but that's very difficult when such a huge proportion of our trade hinges ultimately on the United States. So if we're surrounded by the United States and then we have the United States really doubling down on extorting us on a very tough bilateral trade agreement, I don't think the United States ultimately needs to invade us. And look, I would say that a lot of this we have to take significant responsibility for. We've made some, in my view, very unfavorable decisions in this country that have not been very strategic about shoring up our capabilities on a host and number of fronts. And so if the concerns are genuinely as serious as you point out in the polls, then it behooves us as Canadians to stop complaining and to actually start acting like we want to protect the sovereignty of this country.
It's great to get your perspective on the show. Christian, thank you very much for joining us today.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Christian Leuprecht is a professor in the Department of Political Science and Economics at Royal Military College and Queen's University. He's also a senior fellow at the Macdonald-Laurier Institute. I found the polling rather interesting 24 hours ago. 1 in 3 Canadians say the U.S. might try to invade Canada. By the sounds of what Christian just said, maybe economically, but with force? What do you think? We're always interested in that. Phone lines are open to you on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
We don't have the capacity to assert our sovereignty and interests, which is why we entered into the NORAD agreement to begin with, because we're too small a country to afford those capabilities. And so it would mean that effectively you will become a quasi-colony of the United States, surrounded on all sides by the United States. And personally, I don't think that holds out particularly well for Canadian political and economic sovereignty.
Christian Leuprecht is a professor in the Department of Political Science and Economics at Royal Military College and Queen's University. He's also a senior fellow at the Macdonald-Laurier Institute. He joins us this morning to talk about U.S. President Donald Trump's aspirations to conquer Greenland, what that means for Canada, and to look at polling that suggests 1 in 3 of us here in Canada believe that a U.S. military invasion of our country is a very real possibility. I think it would be fair to characterize the actions of the U.S. president of late to be of the jackwagon variety. We've been hearing from you all morning about the number of jackwagons that you have experienced out on the roads today on this really treacherous winter day. Please don't be that jackwagon. So maybe this is the best time of all to remind you that not everyone is a jackwagon. I like to remind you of this on a daily basis here on the show. And today I'm going to focus on local people, in particular kids, elementary school students, in fact, across our region, who certainly are not jackwagons. Once again, they are being given the opportunity to participate in the Meaning of Home contest, which is run through Habitat for Humanity. Grades 4, 5, and 6 students invited to submit a poem or an essay explaining what home means to them. It's a great way for students to engage in an interactive and fun way, and it teaches youth the importance of safe, affordable housing. There are also big prizes on the line. The grand prize is a $30,000 grant for the local Habitat for Humanity, plus an iPad and a pizza party for the winning student's classroom. Even the runner-up gets a $10,000 grant, plus the iPad and the pizza party, and each and every entry in the Meaning of Home contest, just the entry, earns a $10 donation for the local Habitat for Humanity, so more affordable housing can be built. And we have had winners of this contest right here in our region. So let's hear it for these kiddos who are certainly not jackwagons, beginning with Julia, a student in Mrs. Albrecht's class at W.T. Townsend, who won a $10,000 grant for Habitat for Humanity Waterloo region, a pizza party for her class, and an iPad back in 2022. That same year, Addison also won the same prize, $10,000 grant for Habitat, pizza party, and an iPad. Addison was in Mrs. Yetman's class at Tate Street Public School in Cambridge. Then in 2023, let's hear it for Yovki, who won a $10,000 grant for Habitat for Humanity, the pizza party, and the iPad. She was in Mrs. McIntosh's grade 4 class at Country Hills Public School in Kitchener. And in 2024, Julia won that same $10,000 grant, the pizza party, and the iPad. Julia was in Mrs. Bauman's grade 4 class at Westmount Public School in Kitchener. So the Meaning of Home contest open again for grades 4, 5, and 6. And I want you to hear what Adley, a grade 6 student in Kitchener, wrote about what home means to her. I love my home. I love going home to my family and dog. The words I love you fill my house with love. I love my home because it's like a warm hug. And when I fall asleep, I feel safe. So I am calling all teachers who are working from home today and listening in. Get your students involved in this. Not only can they win prizes for their class, they can help Habitat for Humanity Waterloo region earn money to build more affordable homes. Parents, if you're working from home with the kids today, get your teachers, your kids' teachers involved in this if your kids are in grades 4, 5, or 6. Details are at meaningofhome.ca. Great contest proving that elementary school students in this region are definitely not jackwagons. I'm going to get you an update from the 570 News Center, and then I'm going to come to you for some help. This is very embarrassing for me. It truly is, even though apparently I'm one of 12 million people that are doing this. So this is where you can come in, because maybe you've got some experience in helping me with this really embarrassing problem. We'll get to that on the flip side coming up. I'm sure you can help me. I'm turning to you in my hour of need. I can't believe I'm now one of the 12 million people doing this. It's coming up on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. I'm almost embarrassed to admit how much this embarrasses me, quite frankly. I felt as though I had reached a point in my life where I am what I am who I am, this is what you get. You don't get upset. However, I have developed a new habit through no choice of my own. I can assure you of that. And it truly does embarrass the ever-loving heck out of me. And I would absolutely love to break this habit. So, since it seems that I am one of the 40 to 50% by way of estimates, Canadian adults who suffer from this affliction. That's an estimated 12 million people. I was thinking, surely you have experience in this regard. Maybe you are the person who has the habit, or you are the person, like my beloved, who puts up with the habit. And I am desperate for a solution here. Because you see, if I wasn't doing this 3 months ago, then how in the heck can I suddenly have started doing it? And what I am talking about, oh, it's so embarrassing to me. Anyway, I'm talking about snoring. I have become a snorer. I have become a snorer to the point that it disrupts my beloved's sleep. And she's been very patient and she's been lovely, but it didn't change the fact that the other night I couldn't take it anymore because I know how difficult it's being on her, and off to the spare bedroom I went. Need I remind you that we just got married in September? I don't want to be spending my nights in the spare bedroom unless I'm in trouble for something. And I wasn't exactly, except I was disrupting that poor angel's sleep the other night. And I'm the one that feels all the guilt from it. And the crazy thing about this is it seemed to happen overnight. No pun intended. One day I'm not snoring, the next day I am. In fact, going back in time to when we first started hanging out together and spending nights, my beloved and I, she used to tease me. She's like, I feel like I need to check if you're breathing because when you sleep, you are so still. And I would joke, it's like, well, that's what I do. When I sleep, it's time to sleep. It's a job. I do everything to the best of my ability, right? When I'm here at the radio station, I'm doing the best that I can. When I'm watching hockey, I'm watching hockey. When I'm drinking a beer, I'm drinking a beer. When I'm sleeping, I'm sleeping. And that tracked with my previous life before my beloved, when I was a single guy and I'd get up in the morning and I'd basically just have to pull the covers on the one side of the bed because I would get into bed, I would turn on my right side, face my digital alarm clock, and I wouldn't budge. I'd get up in the morning. I don't toss, I don't turn, I don't sprawl and starfish and kick around the covers. I sleep until I stopped. And now here I am, one of the estimated 12 million Canadian adults who snore. So if it's not too embarrassing for you, because again, this really, I don't know why it embarrasses me as much as it does, but it really embarrasses me. I'll tell you one more little secret. What I did a couple of weeks ago, I was up in North Bay and Sudbury with the Rangers, and my broadcast partner, Josh Piercy, was away. He was on assignment, so I had a hotel room to myself. And so I ran my voice note recorder while I slept, just to hear what it was like, or maybe I wouldn't, and I would try to pile up pillows so I could stay on my side and not turn onto my back and blah, blah, blah. I snored like a ding-dang buzzsaw all night, every night. Hey, Piercy, we're going away again in about a week. I hope you're ready for some snoring partner here. It just, frustrated, embarrassed. Clearly, though, with 40 to 50% of Canadian adults also being of the snoring variety, I'm not alone. So if it's not too much for you and it's not too embarrassing for you, can you help a brother out today? Either you are the person who snores or you are the person who puts up with the snoring. How do we do this? What's the solution here? How do we navigate this? And more importantly, can I quit? How do I stop? Because like I told you, one day I wasn't, and the next day I was, and here I am. 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. Apparently, there are 12 million of us who are engaging in this behavior on a daily/nightly basis. I've read some stuff about some over-the-counter remedies. Okay, maybe. I've heard about the tennis ball trick where you tape a tennis ball to the back of your T-shirt, whatever, and then it's too uncomfortable because when you turn over onto your back, you're going to be laying on the tennis ball, so you won't go on your back. I don't know. I feel as though this is even happening now when I'm sleeping on my side. Whatever the case is, I want it to stop. I figure if it just starts overnight, it can stop overnight too. Or maybe there is a strategy besides separate bedrooms that can help us. Is it earplugs? My beloved's birthday is coming up in a few months. Should I just start buying earplugs every day now so that she has multiple pairs to plug into her ears every night? I don't know. Like I said, the over-the-counter remedies that I've read about being available, I mean, if they work, if you've got experience with nasal strips or whatever the other thing may be, I'm more than happy to hear it. But there are more of us than just me. And I recognize, believe you me, I even said to my beloved last night, I said, I'm going to talk about this because I need help. I'm so embarrassed by it, though. I can't believe that this 5 foot nothing. I know I'm getting tubbier. I have tried to cut down on the consumption of the alcohol, particularly in the hours before bed, because apparently that can be a thing. So I'm trying these things. I haven't bought anything over the counter yet, but I'm embarrassed as all get out. I want it to stop, and maybe, just maybe, you can help me. Either you yourself suffer from this same problem, or you have dealt with somebody who does suffer from this and you've made it work somehow. I don't know. Help me out. Rick is with us on the flip side. Rick, good morning.
Good morning, my friend. How are you today?
Well, I'm a little bit embarrassed. I'm not going to lie. But other than that, I'm okay.
I'm a first-time caller, and I want a number near the end, okay?
Okay. Yes! That's what every first-time caller gets first. What's next? You going to help me with my snoring?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you listening to? I've got a sleep apnea machine, and that stopped me from snoring.
Well, a sleep apnea machine, though, that's a pretty big deal, Rick, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'll bet you're stopped breathing during the night, too, when you're snoring, and that's not good.
All right, so you think, how do I get one of these machines? Do I have to go to my doctor?
Your doctor, and they'll finance you, and then you got to go take a sleep a night over and get a test. But I guarantee it's going to work.
A sleep apnea machine. Now, what's that like? Is it like wearing an oxygen mask or something?
Yes. You wear an oxygen mask over your face. And my wife and we both have one, and it stopped me because I was snoring like crazy, and she was saying that I was stopped breathing during the night, so I went and got tested, and it's the best thing I've ever done.
All right, the sleep apnea machine it is. Rick, thank you.
And I guarantee you it'll work.
Okay.
And your wife won't be bothered.
my wife won't be bothered.
Lovely wife can sleep in the same room with you with no problem.
Okay, Rick, I'm going to give you a Farwell's Force number, okay?
Yes, what is it?
You are number 286, Rick.
Okay, big guy, appreciate it.
Before I let you go, because I have another Rick on here, can I just have the first letter of your last name?
L.
L. Rick L. Welcome to Farwell's Force. Thank you.
And I love your show.
I really appreciate that. Thanks very much.
I guarantee it'll work.
Okay, sleep apnea machine coming up. Rick joins Farwell's Force. We are a force for good, a force for change, a force to be reckoned with. Ron is next on the flip side. You going to help me with my snoring problem, Ron?
Yeah, 100%, and he is right. You need to get yourself a sleep test done.
Come on, it's just there's got to be another. That sounds to me like the nuclear option here.
Okay, you want to hear something kind of scary, and this is going to scare you? They say that people that are snoring and have this issue have a better chance of developing dementia at an older age.
No, I'm doing crossword puzzles, so I'm going to be okay.
No, it doesn't work that way, my friend. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, get yourself tested. And I will tell you this. Your sleep will improve it'll be like night and day.
All right, Ron. Listen, I appreciate it. Here's the other thing. I can tell you this. Like the other night when I went to the spare room, guess what? Slept like a baby. I haven't. Every once in a while, I will kind of snort myself awake. That's fair. But for the most part, it's my poor beloved that's suffering through this and suffering through it like a champ. But gosh, I really thought that the sleep apnea machine would be like the nuclear option here. It's literally started like one day I'm not snoring, the next day I am. Mike, Farwell's Force member number 23. Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. We're dealing with the same stupidity in my house. And I've tried gadgets, the mouth snore guards you can get at Shoppers Drug Mart. It works. It molded. I just bought another one off Amazon that pushes my chin out a little farther, and that helps. However, what I found out, late night eating, any alcohol late at night, bad. Red wine's even worse. And losing weight. I remember when I lost weight, that's when I really stopped snoring. But weight loss was the big one, 'cause it's all up in the neck. That's it. It sucks. But I'm booked for a sleep clinic to get a sleep apnea machine too.
Come on.
Yes, it's stupid. I'm the same vintage as you, pretty much.
See, that just feels like, oh my gosh.
I hate growing up or old, whichever it is.
Okay, but hang on now. So you tried the mouth guard that you could buy over the counter.
It does work.
And you lost some weight, which helped, but you're still... No?
I used to lose weight.
Oh.
But now I've gained a whole bunch back because I tore my Achilles.
I gotcha.
So exercise sucks, but now it's kind of come back. It's like, crap.
Gotcha.
And my poor wife, I hate it.
I know. That's the thing, right? You feel so bad.
Yeah. Water. Tons of water and no alcohol.
Okay, buddy. Oh, no alcohol. So, I'm a Leafs fan, pal. Come on.
I know.
All right, Mike. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Good to hear from you today. I will do anything. I really will. But there's got to be something between this problem just started and a sleep apnea machine. Brian, good morning. You're on the flip side.
I was trying to think of a song to do with sleep, because that's what I do, but I couldn't think of one. Maybe that could be a Friday show, songs to do with sleep or dreaming.
There you go. Put
that on your list. It also occurred to me that I do not have a Farwell Force number.
What?
What's up with that?
How is that a thing? How is that a thing?
I don't know.
All right.
Do you have a number that either is that the digits all add up to 9? Because that's my lucky number.
The digits all up. I guess we could, if we want to jump ahead, we could go to 333.
Perfect.
Okay, 333 it is, my friend.
Love it. Awesome. Okay, now, here's the straight deal.
Yes.
Go to your doctor, ask for a sleep study. They'll send you to the sleep clinic where you'll have an overnight. They'll hook you up to a bunch of stuff and determine what your breathing is through your sleep. I did it. I was stopping breathing hundreds of times during the night, sometimes for up to 85 seconds.
Shut the front door.
No, I'm not kidding. That's what the sleep study showed. So they gave me a prescription for a CPAP machine, which is what you use for sleep apnea. And it's changed my life. I get good night's sleeps now. I'm not tired all the time. It's helped me lose more weight because I've got more energy during the day. And the doctor said that if you're trying to lose weight and you're tired all the time, it's hard to do. So it's great. My wife affectionately refers to it as my Darth Vader mask because that's kind of what I look like while I'm sleeping with it and sound like. But I'm used to it now. It doesn't bother me at all. In fact, I can't sleep without it now. When I go on vacation, I take it with me. So it's great. It will help greatly.
All right, Brian. Farwell's Force member number 333. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Talk to you Monday.
Look forward to it. That is Brian Allison, of course, our good friend, a musicologist, Farwell's Force member. And he's here every Monday morning at 11 with This Week in Music History. I was really hoping for something other than the CPAP machine, to be honest. I want to stop. I do. And if I'm being honest with you, which is the only way I know how to be, I don't love the idea of the sleep clinic idea. I'm sure they do wonderful work. I can't imagine sleeping in a strange place with people monitoring me all night. I am such a loser. I'm so embarrassed by all of this. Can you give me something? Can I get 2 liters of pop? Something other than a CPAP machine here. Help me out. No? Nothing? I'm trying to stop snoring because I suddenly started. Surely I can suddenly stop. Help me out on the flip side. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. I have suddenly acquired the nasty habit of snoring. I would like to get rid of the habit just as quickly as I seem to have found it. I'm asking you for your help, embarrassing as this may be. John, you're next on the flip side. Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm all right. I'm sleeping like a baby these days. My wife, on the other hand, I can't say the same for.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm a bit of an old guy going down the backside of life, been around the sun a few times. I started snoring in my 30s, and it became a problem again for the wife. What worked for me was those simple little earplugs.
Yeah, you gave them to your wife, right?
No, No, for me.
Really?
I wore them.
You wore earplugs and that stopped snoring?
That stopped that night.
Come on.
I'm not kidding you, sir. I thought I'd heard about it through a friend of a friend who also was a bad snorer. So I said, heck, I'm going to give it a try because I'm still in very good shape for my age, but, reasonably fit, eat well, no excess alcohol or smoking, and it stopped it overnight. And I've been using it for the past 40 years.
John, I love it. I'm going to give it a shot. I really appreciate you. Listen, it sounds easier than going to that sleep clinic, right? I can try. Ian, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. I've been an experienced snorer for a number of years. Hence, we have a snoratorium.
That's what you call the extra room, Ian?
That's what we call the extra room.
Very good.
She wears earplugs. Mind you, she snores too, but I don't hear her unless she goes to bed first.
Right.
But apparently on the second floor, I've been heard in the basement. Some of your previous callers have mentioned things I've tried from Shoppers Drug Mart as well, and I haven't had much success. I agree with the one caller that said, little or no alcohol, loss of weight. I mean, that's short of a CPAP machine. It's pretty much the direction you're heading.
Yeah. I'm happy to do that. I really am. I figure that's the least I can do after starting this nonsense.
One more thing before I go.
Sure.
So I've called in a few times, and I listen when I can, but and it daily usually, but I don't always have the opportunity to call in. Is 289 taken?
As a matter of fact, it is. I've got 288 and 290, but 289 is already gone.
Well, and I bring it up because of previous conversations I've heard you talk about Ford Mustangs.
I knew it because somebody called and asked for the 283 because they're a Chevy guy.
Yeah.
And 289 I recognized right away as one of my Ford engines. Yeah.
So I'm going to go 307 if that's available.
100%. As a fellow Ford guy, you got it, pal.
Yeah. All right.
Ian, you are Farwell's Force member number 307.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Ian. Great to hear from you today. Let's hear from George next. Good morning, George.
Good morning, Mike. I'm here to save your day.
Please do.
Here's how I see it. You're still far too young for the CPAC. Here's what's helped me out. You have a paper and pen?
I sure do.
Okay, I'm going to spell it out. NATTOKINASE. Natural kindness. Not only does it help guys 50 and over with their heart, it also starts to open up their nasal passage, and I'm over my snoring because of that. I didn't even know about it. I was taking it for my heart because I had a bit of a heart issue, and I found out it also opens up your nasal passage.
George, I wrote it down. I've made a note. I don't love taking things, but I really want to stop snoring. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Take out the papers and the trash, or you don't get no spending cash. If you don't scrub that kitchen floor, you ain't gonna rock and roll no more. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
Just finish cleaning up your room. Let's see that dust fly with that broom. Get all that garbage outside, or you don't go out Friday night. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
Okay, I just got a message. I got to make sure this is right. It's not, I have a hard time. Is this for real? Like, come on with your coming on. I see the little dots that indicate that Craig is messaging me back right now. So I'm going to hold off on that for just a moment. But what Craig was complaining about in his message is the lack of action from the snowplow on his street. And I've seen some traction on this, about this online as well. And we got a call early this morning. And I was very defensive of the plow operators, given the amount of snow that we received. Yeah, Queen Street. Come on. I'm not sure. Craig, are you sure? Like, this is the thing. When I came to work this morning, just after 6. Well, it was about 6:30 by the time I got here because it took a long time to clean off the car. But the main roads that I traveled, I could tell a plow had been down them already. Certainly they weren't like, I don't know what we expect on a day like today. We certainly can't expect bare pavement and clear sailing out there. The highway was similar. Surely there had been plows out there, but the snow had fallen at such a magnitude and a frequency that how are you going to keep up with it? But I'm hearing lots about the difficulty that people are having getting around today because the plows have not been there. I sincerely believe they've been out. Like, I can't believe if Craig is right that a plow has not yet hit Queen Street. That would be a concern because that's a pretty major thoroughfare. I got off the highway this morning, I told you, at Fisher Hallman because I didn't want to take it between Fisher Hallman and Trustler this morning. I just didn't like the looks of the road and going into that darker area. I figured I'd end up in the ditch, just losing my place out there with all the snow. So I got off at Fisher Hallman. Fisher Hallman had been plowed. I took Fisher Hallman to Victoria. Victoria had been plowed. Again, it was still snow covered, but you could tell the plow had been there at some point. There are only so many plows to go around, and that's a lot of snow. But that truly shocks me if a plow has not yet hit Queen Street in Kitchener. Come on with your coming on. Anyway, maybe I should buy Craig a new snowplow for his birthday, and he can go out and plow it himself. It's the Talkback Hour. You want to talk about how it is out there and how you're making out today? I'm more than happy to hear it. Or weigh in on the issues of the day, of which there are many, primarily in this community, the water, and it just goes on from there. Phone lines are now open. We'll begin with our buddy Jersey Bill. Good afternoon, Billy.
And just a reminder, number 12.
Farwell's Force, member number 12. I'll tell you what, we're picking up so many new members, Billy. We're almost at 300. Come on.
I tell you what, once it starts hitting the thousands and the tens of thousands, maybe it's time for you to enter those professional negotiations with your bosses there.
I'm bringing you with me because you think I should get the 1% Vladdy deal, right?
That's absolutely true. I still think that. I hope you do someday.
Thank you.
As this snowfall comes down, and it is 30 centimeters, that I had to think 30 centimeters now. Okay.
That's a foot.
A foot of snow. And if it gets to 40 centimeters, it would be like a foot and a half. That's how I was brought up.
Yes, sir.
In New Jersey. But we have a good neighbor that comes through. He plows a lot of the sidewalks with his big plow when it gets to be this high. And he even plowed out that area. What's that area called between the sidewalk and the street there? He plowed that out for us too.
Wow, very nice.
The plow has come through because they have to, I guess, for this neighborhood, because this is our garbage day, so they had to at least make it a little passable for the recycling and the garbage trucks coming through. It's I tried to shovel a bit. It's sort of light. It's not too bad. I guess let me just turn to politics for a second. I tell you, I just don't understand what's happening. And I don't know, is Trump threatening Greenland, and who knows what that means for other countries in this hemisphere. But how on earth can especially the Republicans supporting him in Congress still, how on earth can they say with a straight face that the people of Iran should protest in the streets, rise up and overthrow their government, and yet when people try peaceful protests that may not be so peaceful, he believes his agents have the right to just if not just arrest them, but unfortunately injure them and kill them. It just boggles the mind. There's a talk about a cognitive dissonance. One would hope that maybe a big blanket of snow might calm things down there, but that might just make matters worse.
Billy, appreciate the call. It's funny when Billy mentioned the amount of snow, but it's light. He went out there and shoveled a bit. Be careful what you wish for. I've been saying for a long time, could it please just snow? Because we've been having all of these events with freezing rain and ice pellets and this crusty nonsense. And I didn't mean 30 centimeters. Oh, my goodness. But truly, at least I know when I go home this afternoon, I'm just shoveling snow. That's better than the alternative, what we've had. But I really didn't mean a foot. Thank you very much. Kathy, you're next on Talkback. Good afternoon. Oh, my goodness, Kathy.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I got you.
Okay. The cord went. I've really been enjoying the programs this morning, but I didn't get in on time to call about your snoring thing.
Oh, you going to help me with my snoring thing?
Well, I don't know if I can or not, but I do know a lot of that is based with ear, throat, and nose. And it can be simple thing like your jaw being misaligned, dental work, or a slip or a twist or a turn that throws things off, that can throw everything out of order.
Absolutely right you are, Kathy. It can be one of those simple little things, right? I haven't been punched in the jaw recently that I know of, at least not literally, perhaps figuratively, but not literally that I know of. Alan is next on Talkback. Hey, Alan.
Good morning, Mike. First-time caller.
First-time caller, Alan.
Yes!
Welcome aboard, buddy.
Thank you. But you know me online as the guy that bugs you about Big Turk.
Oh, my gosh. If I had known that, I would not have taken this call.
I'm just calling in to say, listen, people, I know it's snowy out there, but clean off your cars.
Oh, my gosh.
That's all I got to say.
Okay. Alan, well said. Thank you. You can leave me alone on the Big Turk now, but could you imagine not? And actually, I got an email to this regard earlier about not only not cleaning off the car completely, but driving without one's lights on, especially early this morning. Somebody was on their way to work at 6 a.m. and there was a white car, he said, fully covered in snow on the back and no lights. I think that was the white car I was following. I don't understand it. But Alan, thank you. Clean off your car. If you're not cleaning off your car today, you should just turn in your license. Like, you wouldn't be able to drive it with all this snow. Kyle, good afternoon.
I always say to those people that complain about plows, go get your driver's license to drive a plow and help out, because I get tired of it.
Well,
anyway,
I do think, like, there are only so many plows, but I would be shocked if one plow is sitting idle today. One.
Oh, for sure. And there's a shortage of plow drivers, I believe, across the region, not just here, but like in all of Ontario, because, not enough people are doing that type of job anymore, right?
Interesting.
The thing I was going to talk about is Greenland as well.
Sure.
So I heard that they were offering between $100,000 to $1 million per person. Is that correct? In Greenland. And I was thinking to myself, well, that's not going to go very far, because $1 million, if you become American, there goes your money when you eat all the fast food that they're going to put in your country, and then you go to the hospital and you can't afford your medical bills anymore.
Interesting way to look at it.
I mean, at least because they're part of Denmark and they're a sovereign country, they have the healthcare system that we kind of have, right? Probably a little bit better than what we have, because there's only like 30 or 40 people that live there. But the point is it's ridiculous what's going on. I mean, he can't take over Greenland. It's a sovereign country. It goes against international laws. There's going to be, if he does do it, it's basically a free-for-all for anybody. China's now going to take over Taiwan. Russia can now, start taking over other former Soviet countries. A war could happen in the Balkans. Like, it's mad crazy what's going on. But like I said, I just get the popcorn out because every morning I figure out if there's going to be something going on. So anyways, thanks, Mike.
All right, Kyle, thanks. He can't do it because Greenland's a sovereign country. Well, you say he can't, but I think he thinks he can, and he, in fact, may at some point. Just that point on plow drivers makes me think back to my old buddy Trev. He used to pitch for our ball team. It was stone cold beauty. This guy was a farmer by day, and he had a side hustle as a plow operator. Apparently, it was pretty good money back then. I don't know if it still is, but I can't imagine it would be worse money. I'd drive a plow, and let me tell you what I'd do if I came down your street and your car was parked there and I had to do the plowing. I'd be burying cars left and right. I really would. Bryce, good afternoon. You're on Talkback.
Good afternoon, Mike. I just want to address the plow issue. It's outrageous that people think that they can get out at, say 11 a.m. or not a.m., p.m., because that's what I did. I did property maintenance for a while, and it's a grueling job. It really is.
I'm not surprised in the least. I saw a couple of folks. One, when I was on Victoria Street at Sandhills School, there was a little front-end loader in there doing some work, and I saw another up here at the boardwalk. They've got the plows out, the tractors out doing the work in all of the parking lots. It's not easy work at all.
Yeah, you're right. Like, it really isn't, because you're waking up early, you're messing up your sleep schedule. There's so many variables. Just relax on the plow drivers, what I'd say to everyone that's annoyed, because it's a hard job. Give them credit for what they do.
All right, Bryce, I appreciate the call. Look, when it comes to how it messes with your sleep schedule and whatnot, I get it. That said, it is the job that you either chose or the job that you have. So there's lots of different sleep patterns and shift work that goes on in a variety of jobs. But to the broader point, and look, I get it. If, again, I can't believe that Queen Street has not seen the business end of a plow yet today. That would shock me. It's quite possible. I'll just use Victoria Street again as an example from this morning when I was on it just after 6 a.m. Was it snow covered? Yeah, but the plow had been by. It's just so much snow falling so quickly. So I guess what I would say is, like, we can do our part, right? This is a collective effort to clean up from a storm like this. I did see one note that this is the biggest storm since 2022. That surprises me a bit because I seem to recall getting dumpings like this multiple times last year, but maybe I'm just misremembering. But my point is, when we get this kind of storm, and this is a flat-out, full-on snow day kind of storm, right? It's a collective effort. We know that our plow operators are out there. I promise you that they've been out since last night. There's not a doubt in my mind that they have been. And, of course, main roads are going to get priority and whatnot. Your little side street. Good luck seeing a plow at some point today, maybe tomorrow, but that's to be expected. And when you do go out, don't expect every road to be bare or even track bare on a day like today. If you got to be out, give yourself extra time. Don't drive like a jackwagon. And I promise you, the plows are doing the best that they can. There aren't enough plows in this region to deal with a storm like this, even when they're all out. And I'm sure they're all out right now. So maybe we can keep that in mind as we continue through our Talkback Hour today. It's the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Let's get right back to the phones on a busy Talkback Hour on this snowy Thursday afternoon. Michael, good afternoon.
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Today, I would like to talk about why there should be more Canadians in Formula One racing.
More Canadians in Formula One racing.
Yeah.
Okay, why do you think there should be more Canadians in Formula One racing?
Because I think we don't really have enough.
Are you going to become one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Michael, is this how you spend a snow day when you get to stay home from school?
Maybe.
You know what we used to do, Michael, when I was your age? We would call the neighbors and ask them if their refrigerator was running. And if they said yes, we would say, well, you better go catch it. Or we'd call up the grocery store and ask if they have Robin Hood by the bag. And I'll just leave that one alone for your imagination. There were lots. I won't even go too far down the path. I don't want to misguide Michael any more than that. But by the sounds of Michael's voice, he's of the age that he could become the next great Formula One driver from Canada. I'm not an F1 guy myself, but I'm all for the racing. So go get him, Michael. Mary is next on Talkback. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Mike. I've heard over the different shows that you had a Mustang.
Oh, did I ever have a Mustang?
And you know what? I never put you down as a Mustang guy. I thought you just putter along with some silly little car. But you've come up in my opinion.
I have. Oh, because I drove a sports car. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, my kids, my previous husband, he actually raced. I think he raced at Cayuga. He could have gone to Daytona, but he didn't want to go there. But so at every light, it was a race,
Of course it was. That's why we had those cars, Mary.
Yeah, and you know what? The other thing is, my son only buys stick shifts. So does his wife. And that's a good idea because the thieves don't know how to use stick shifts.
Yes, I heard that recently of somebody that tried stealing a car and they couldn't, yes.
The other thing is, my son has a Honda. Now, you wouldn't believe this, but the hot item is the airbags for a Honda.
I know. I've heard all about it.
Stealing it.
Yes, they are.
Well, you know what? What's safe anymore, Mike?
I don't know, Mary.
Go Rangers, go. Have a good day.
You too, Mary. You too. I didn't know my status could climb with Mary just because I used to own a sports car. Huh. Go figure. Nate, Farwell's Force member number 8. Good afternoon.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I'm glad you're tucked in your office there. I hope you guys have a safe drive home. Everyone there, be safe out there. And clean your cars off like someone else said. But, let's leave the plow drivers alone. Like, there's only so many of them. This is a freak storm. I'm in a cul-de-sac. I probably won't get plowed out until about 4 a.m. It's about when they come by here. And as far as snoring goes, both me and my spouse had to go to the sleep clinic. And both of us were told that we needed the CPAP machine. Myself, I was also seeing a nose surgeon at the time. And I had a double deviated septum from when I was a child. And once that was fixed, my sleep apnea was pretty good. So I don't know if you've ever broken your nose before, Mike, but that could be something to look into.
I have not broken my nose that I know of.
See, that's the thing. I don't remember it either, but I guess it was when I was under 10 years old or something. But the sleep clinic itself is like the most uncomfortable sleep you're ever going to have in your life. They wire you up to all this stuff, and there's someone like with a camera watching you, and you're in a weird, you're not in your own bed, you don't have your own pillows, all that stuff, right? And they don't even give you some kind of sedative or anything like that, right? I think that'd probably benefit some people. But the point I was getting at is it seems there's a lot of people that I've talked to, like at least over 30 people that have all gone to the sleep apnea clinic, and they all get told they need a CPAP machine. And I just said, well, yeah, because you have a uncomfortable sleep when you're there. Should be a better way of testing it, I guess is what I'm getting at.
All right, Nate, I got to run to get to news on time, but you kind of hit on what I was thinking of there. When you talked about having gone to the clinic, you got the CPAP machine too. What I think I've learned today is I should buy stock in CPAP machine companies. An update from the 570 News Center, and then we continue with Talkback. And I think we're going to get the answer, or the attempted answer, as to why we have these goofy color-coded weather alerts now. I don't care what color it is. I just want to know how much snow is coming. Stay with us. Talkback continues on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. It's like Talkback the Snow Day edition. And, as I was getting ready for work this morning, before I had even looked outside, I thought, wow, we've gone through this entire year of some so-so weather at times, and we have not canceled schools one time. Today was that first time, but understandably so. What a wallop we have received. And maybe, just maybe, this next caller on Talkback can help shed some light on it. My good buddy Cooney, a.k.a. Kitchener Cooney, who just so happens to work for Environment Canada. Good afternoon, Cooney.
Good afternoon, Mike. How are you on this snowy day?
You've got some guts, pal.
Well, I guess so. I don't know. I don't think I have any guts. I'm just, plodding along here, trying to serve you best as a public servant as best as possible.
You keep me informed of all of the weather comings and goings and parts of winter, etc. But let me fill us in a little bit on this one, if you could, Rob, because we were talking 5 to 10 centimeters first, then 10 to 20, and holy moly, we're getting 30 or so.
Well, yes, certainly I will fill you in. But first of all, it is extremely important to note that you, a few days ago, personally asked for snow. Therefore, now that we, and I'm joking here, we forecast to expectations, look at what came. What did happen is a few days ago, there was we had the mild spell, so the winter part 6 had ended, and the forecasts were showing, all the charts are showing like a cold front coming through yesterday, maybe a centimeter or two of snow, no big deal. And then about 3 days ago, one of the foreign computer models that we do watch, and it is very good, started to show a new weather disturbance forming along the line of the front just south of us. So sort of like Buffalo-ish, Erie-ish, somewhere down there, just southeast of Lake Erie. If that was to happen, that's a perfect track for a classic widespread snowstorm. And then yesterday, the other models started to sort of fall into line, and we're starting to show the same thing. Our office caught this already yesterday morning early before you really heard anything else at all and started increasing amounts. And as what has happened, this system actually did overproduce. We were right in the middle of the heavy snow band associated with these kind of weather systems. There was some moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, a little bit, but it was also quite cold. And as a result of it being in a minus 10 to minus 15 degree range, the snow tends to be light and fluffy if the cloud temperature is the same, and it was. So we call this the dendritic growth zone. You get a lot of big snowflakes with dendrites. When they come onto the ground, they accumulate. It's rather fluffier. So the shoveling this morning wasn't as hard as we've had in other cases. The typical, if you melt all the snow down, the typical snow-to-water ratio, the first guess, and it's not very good, but it is a first guess, is 1 centimeter of melted water, liquid water, makes 10 centimeters of snow. That is a first guess, and that is, again, it's not very good. These weather systems go all over the place. This one here had basically, if you melt all the snow down and grind out that ratio, 25 centimeters of snow makes 10 millimeters of water, so or 1 centimeter of water. So there's that 25 to 1. So it was a lot fluffier, but still, when you're getting, I measured 26 centimeters as of just before coming to the show here at home. That stuff still is a heck of a lot to shovel. And if you are shoveling, take your time, take frequent breaks. Don't try and be a superman or superwoman and just go for it all. You'll get it done. And we have snow blowers, including mine, on our street. We've been clearing each other out, and it's a lot of snow. It's one that overproduced, and Mother Nature sometimes does that. All the computer models can show nothing, and you've got people looking at the situation, and then something gives a little bit of a hint. And then our office, which is swamped right now with a high workload, I'm going to be helping them remotely from home this afternoon. They started catching this. It was already talked about early yesterday morning, and adjustments started to be made, and this thing just kept on going up and up and up and up. And look what we got ourselves, a major snowstorm, and very high impact, as you've seen by the color of the alert.
Let's talk about that, Rob, because I think this is the goofiest thing anybody ever came up with. Yellow, orange, red means nothing to me. Just tell me how much snow is coming.
Yes, I totally understand your opinion there. That being said, this color code system, yellow, orange, red, is in use around the world. European countries, Australia, New Zealand have been doing this color-coded warning for a few years already, and we are, in a sense, catching up. So there are 3 colors to our alerts. Actually, there's 4, but I'll do the 3 main ones first. The first one is a yellow one. That means hazardous weather may cause damage, disruption, or health impacts, but the impacts are moderate, localized, and or short-term, like less than a day, a few hours. These kind of alerts are the most common, and that's why you see things like snow squall alerts. And initially, when the snowfall warning came out, it was yellow, as it looked like it was going to be a typical one that may, mess things up for a few hours to a day while snow crews and stuff can get cleaned out. The second color, which is orange, means that severe weather is likely to cause significant damage, disruption, or health impacts. The impacts are considered to be major, widespread, and or may last, a few days, like 1 to 3 days. These ones are fairly uncommon because if you get an orange alert, you know the impacts we are expected are going to be major and significant. And look at what's happened today as an example. This orange snowfall warning was a good call, in my opinion. Just hearing and seeing all the stuff that's going on, the road closures, accidents, snow days, stuff like that across the region. So that is not too common. One that is rare is the red alert, and that is very dangerous and possibly life-threatening weather will cause extreme damage and disruption. Impacts are extensive, widespread, and prolonged. Red alerts are rare. An example is the ice storm that affected southern Ontario in December of 2013. I worked part of that, and that led to power outages in some areas lasting over a week. Tornado warnings in the summer are red alerts as well, because, of course, it's very dangerous to expect. And another one would be if there was a blizzard, a long-lived blizzard, 1 or 2 days, shutting everything down for maybe up to a week. Because of, just impassable road conditions.
But what I don't understand, Rob, is why we don't just use the language. Because I feel like when I hear the color, I have to remember what it means. Just tell me. Just tell me that it's going to be really dangerous and the blizzard might last a day or two. There you go.
Yes, and that is what's in there. The text of the message will indicate that. What will happen with these? Yes, there is a period of getting used to this. It's going to take time, but as time goes on, more and more people, and for example, the emergency management officials who will look at this stuff, they will know if there's a color coming out like that, or orange or red, and there is discussion beforehand, before issuing these. They will know how to, for example, adjust staffing or anticipate staffing for an event coming up. This one being an example. There's coordination ahead of time, so with folks who help deal with, hospitals, or, for example, police, everybody becoming aware of the color. And through use of becoming used to the color, say, oh, I see orange, so, okay, I better check this out and get the details better. But yes, the information that you are indicating is in the alert. That's part of it's free-form text, and part of it are canned statements that we use to get the message out correctly. And with time, people will recognize what those three colors are.
I hope so. Now, you get back to work helping your colleagues in the office that's so busy today.
Oh, I'm going to be on the phone for much of the afternoon because I think somebody couldn't make it in. And Toronto got similar amounts. I've been seeing reports of near 40 centimeters in parts of the GTA. And for here, 25 to 30. I think Waterloo is close to 30. It's fluffy. So, and the good news is, I think the snow here is about done. It's very close. I'm just looking at the radar. So I would expect the alert here will be discontinued sometime this afternoon. And then, of course, we have something coming for you tomorrow night, but it looks like 2 to 5 centimeters. But remember, you asked for snow, so we're going to forecast it.
Thanks, Cooney. You're a good man. Have a great day.
You too. Take care, Mac, and all the best.
Bye-bye. Cynthia sent me an email to that same effect. You asked for snow, and I did. So guilty. I still got to say, I understand, because I went to Environment Canada's website today and looked up this color coding thing. I feel like I'm being tested. What does yellow mean again? What does orange? Just tell me. Just give it to me in words. I don't understand the color stuff. But anyway, Andrew, good afternoon. You're on Talkback.
How are you today?
Great. How are you?
I'm kind of disappointed with you, Rob.
You can be disappointed with Rob between 1 and 3. If you want to be disappointed with Mike, you got the right guy.
Sorry, Mike.
That's okay.
I'm just kind of disappointed. Yellow is kind of caution. Orange is kind of like a red light. We don't have words at traffic lights. We all learnt the colors.
Okay.
It's very easy to learn yellow, caution.
For sure.
Orange, oh, this is serious. And red, which we haven't really seen yet.
All right. If you're first of all, if you're seeing orange on a traffic light, I'm worried about you for starters.
I'm talking about the weather.
I know, but you referred to the traffic light. But here's the thing. Exactly. I get that. So yellow is, yes, the lesser of the color. But what does yellow mean? What's the weather going to be when it's a yellow alert, Andrew?
It's just your normal caution. It's going to snow today. Could get a little slippery. No big deal.
How much snow? How much snow?
Well, you're going to read it anyway.
Well, but that's the point. So why don't you just tell me? I don't want to hear. All I hear is we are under a yellow warning for snowfall. What does that mean? How much snow?
Driver, if I see orange, I know it's going to be bad. I don't even have to know that it's 30 or 50 or 25. It's bad.
Okay. No, that's fair.
Deal.
Okay. You stay. Yeah.
I see yellow. It's a typical snowy day. I'm not really worried. Not me. Yellow, I'm not worried. Orange, this is going to be bad. And then I'll read on, but I'm prepared. I don't get this whole I'm confused with colors. It's not really that hard to remember two things.
All right.
Yellow and orange.
Andrew, I'm sorry I disappointed you today, buddy. I really am.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right. I'm glad we could leave it on that note. All I'm saying is, I get it. Yellow is the least. Orange is more severe. Red is severe-est. I got you. But I guess I'm a stickler for detail. Yellow means what? 0 to 10 centimeters? Orange means 10 to 20 or 25? Red means... Just when I hear we are under a yellow snowfall warning, I'm like, okay, sure. And what? That's just me. Disappointing Andrew and being confused all day here on Talkback. It's the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. It does appear as though the snow has let up or is on its way to ending, just in time for us to wrap up our conversations together today and me to get home and get out my shovel. I'll spend all afternoon on it. It's okay. I asked for it after all. Let's continue Talkback now with Lorraine. Good afternoon, Lorraine.
Hi, Michael. Now, you're much too young to start sounding like a Luddite. Now, at Cambridge, snow removal people were here first thing yesterday morning, bright and early, taking away all the snow piles that were in the front here, took away a couple of dump trucks of it. So they got the yellow warning.
What yellow warning? Was the snow yellow? You don't eat that stuff, Lorraine.
Well, I don't need it myself either, but that's how it goes.
All right. Well, thank you. I'm glad the crews were there in Cambridge. I know it's been a bit of a sore spot in the region so far this winter with difficulty clearing the snow. And sure, by all means, for those emergency responders or others kind of internal to understand what all the colors mean. And I get it. Red is always, yes, stop, danger. I just want to know what's associated with it. And Rob explained it very well, our buddy Kitchener Cooney from Environment Canada. I was on the Environment Canada website today. But unfortunately, I've just been hearing too much of, we're under a yellow snowfall warning today. Well, and how much yellow snow is going to fall? That's all I want to know. I just want a little more detail. What is this? What is the yellow encouraging me to do? Take my chances? Okay, I'll take my chances. On the snow clearing front, email from Yvonne to Mike at 570news.com. There sure was some good road clearing this morning as I drove my husband to his cataract surgery at 6:45. The parking lot of the clinic was even cleared and manageable for us to get into. And Dennis, also very specific with his timing, says via email to Mike at 570news.com at 7:10 a.m. Highland Road, Belmont, and Union and Weber were all plowed and were almost down to the pavement. Plows and operations are doing everything they can as fast and as safely as they can. Keep up the great work, plow operations, public and private operators. So that's from Dennis with his eyewitness account of the roads earlier today. Let's get back to the phones on Talkback. Mike, Farwell's Force member number 23. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I think I got to repeat something back to you. Like, come on with your coming on. Your color whining is funny because I didn't like the new color change either. But you're hilarious today. I've seen whined about it.
Thank you.
But you're welcome. Compliment. But
that didn't sound. That sounded like a backhanded compliment. You're funny when you're whining.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Anyway, so if you're looking at the radar on your weather network, there are all those colors. There's different levels of colors to show the intensity of each system coming through. So you do like the colors. You just don't. Something's tripped you today.
But do you know what? Do you know what happens when you see those colors on the radar? They put the numbers in the colors: 5 to 10 centimeters, 10 to 20 centimeters. You see what I mean?
Oh, I never look at that. I just look at the color.
See, this is interesting. I am a very particular person. I'm a stickler for detail. Yes. So okay, it's starting to make sense now. This is a me thing. I get it.
I'm half rising you, and yeah, it's funny. All
right, buddy. I appreciate it. I'm glad my frustration amuses you, but I accept that it is a me thing. I feel like this is something else I have to learn now, and quite frankly, most days I think the sponge has absorbed all that it possibly can, and by sponge I mean that gray matter in between my ears. Like, how can I possibly fit into there now? What the yellow, orange, and red mean, other than yellow is the least frightening and red is the most frightening. I just like to get the detail behind it a little bit more. This storm is taking its toll on the storm, if you will. To our friends in Guelph, you will not have an OHL game to watch this evening because the game between the Niagara Ice Dogs and the Guelph Storm has been postponed. Oh, wait, it was supposed to be in Niagara. Pardon me. I thought it was going to be in Guelph. Either way, I should have known because Thursday nights, that's when Niagara likes to play. Not a surprise to me. The Storm will not be making the trip through the storm to get to Niagara for tonight's game. This has been a doozy, and it sounds like it's wrapping up just in time for it to get cleaned up and us to start again tomorrow night, but not as many centimeters, according to our buddy Rob Kuhn from Environment Canada. While we're on the subject of the weather and all the snow, when you get out and clean it up, please take time to clear that storm sewer, that catch basin. I know the plow's going to come by. It's going to be hard work, but they all got cleared for us when we got the thaw. Let's get them cleared, keep them cleared now, so that when the next thaw arrives, and it will eventually, then the water has someplace to run off. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're out shoveling. Add to your duties the clearance of that catch basin as well. And that's all the time we have for the show today. I'm going to turn things over to Rob Snow with Now You Know between 1 and 3. His Talkback Hours, plural, are coming right up following this update from the 570 News Center. And then I'll be back tomorrow. I invite you to join me for our Friday show. It's all Request Friday. Send us your drinking song requests. We'll have our Friday 4 Roundtable, the Coaches Show, your Not $1 Million question, and lots more. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9. I invite you to join me as well. My name is Mike Farwell. You are a force for good. Bye for now.